Hello, and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. Our guest today is Evie Smith. Evie, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me here, Jason. Hi, everybody.
So, Evie, first a softball question. You have a lot of stuff going on, right? And we'll get into that later, but what do you do for fun?
Well, that's a very tough question to ask a last 5, 6 years as a PhD student.
So, not so much fun, right?
Not much fun you can do. But I try. Hiking is really great here in Seattle.
Yeah.
I try to hike as much as I can. Um, Something on the water, whale watching. I even tried a little bit sailing, but of course the boom keeps hitting my head.
Uh
I totally understood why it's called the boom. So it's like, okay, that's hurting my working instrument here. So
So, not much fun. That's a lot for PhD student.
research is really fun. So
Yeah.
let's think of it.
So, you just recently got your PhD, right?
Uh, so I recently got my first job,
Okay.
and usually you get that before you finish because
Okay.
they don't want you to have the little gap where you're
Oh, okay.
graduated with PhD but have no job. So I
So,
hopefully will get my PhD finished up in a few months.
so why decide to get a PhD? Because most people, that's like the myth out there. You get a PhD, that means you either have to do straight academia or like you're unemployable because you're too smart, right? No one wants to hire you because you're too smart, right?
You're overqualified.
Yes, yes.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I really think that people who got PhDs are very a little bit obsessed with the subjects they are interested in. So, for example, I really enjoy marketing. Really need to find out why people do that. Why people act this way. Does this color really make them feel a certain way versus the other? I just really need to know. So,
So how? Oh, this might be a fair question to ask since you haven't got your PhD yet. But like, how much did it suck going through the process of doing a PhD? Because like you always hear like working 20-hour days, like PhD students, medical students, like you must really love what you do because you go through like a bunch of crap for it, right? Can you talk about that?
yeah. So you almost feel like somebody mentioned this before, but getting a PhD is like climbing a mountain, but with all the swords pointing down. So you have to really go through a lot of difficulties, a lot of problems, and a lot of personal, spiritual, sometimes people challenges to really get through this whole thing because I mean, I'm not sure if humans are really made to have a goal that you could achieve or you cannot achieve, but you find out about it 5, 6 years later. It's a really it's a tough process.
So why did you not quit? What gave you the perseverance or drive to say, "Man, this is too hard. I can go make $150,000 somewhere doing something right. This is insanity."
Yes. So a lot of people did leave, right? They figure out this is not really for them. Some people figure I can just go to the industry, make a buttload of money. Uh, I think the people who are like me, who stuck with this, it's not saying obsession, but maybe at least stubbornness. I'm just gonna get this done. I need to see this through. I want to get this done, and I think it's a personality thing too. I really enjoy research. It's really fun for me. Every day I wake up, I think about, oh, I'm gonna figure this math model out, see what happens. It's really fun. So,
And what's your PhD gonna be in?
game theory.
Game theory?
So I use mathematical modeling to analyze the strategic interactions of firms
Okay.
in terms of like marketing decisions.
Okay.
So mostly marketing implications of
So you're not talking about
AI out
Xbox
there.
you're not talking about Xbox games and like
I mean,
World of Warcraft.
technically, I mean, games are set up
Yeah.
based on a lot
When I
of
first
game
saw
theory.
game theory, like, man, this can't be like video game theory.
Exactly. But it's can be more fun than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's something you learned during the research that surprised you, that you were not expecting to learn?
I guess what surprised me was really how a lot of companies conduct research and they're not doing it quite right. That's what surprised me the most. Because in academia, you found all these theories, all those fundamental discoveries, but it's not used as much in industry, which is kind of surprising, right? You have people out there claiming, oh, 80% of people who use this really like it. But consumers don't really realize, you have lies, damn lies, and statistics. Come on, we need to really.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the sacrifice you had to make during the PC process. Like you had like obviously I'm thinking like less social time with friends. Like like
Unfortunately.
you like like I don't know if you're single or married, you'd have to like delay like any relationships or anything like that, or
Life choices.
just talk about those choices you had to make.
Yes, of course. So for a lot of PhD students, it is 5, 6 years of your life that you're dedicated most of your
And when
energy
you
time.
say 5, 6 years, you're not talking like 40 hours a week, weekends off, 30
No.
days vacation. You talk about pretty much 24/7, 14 hours a day, 6 years, right?
I mean, there is a
Pretty
really
much,
good
right?
joke on how you allocate your time, right? It's like, oh, getting a PhD, you have all the freedom in the world. As far as you get 15 hours a day of work, you can really allocate it any way you want. But yes, a lot of people have to delay a lot of life choices. And especially most people, when they get PhD, it's the time of their life that most things happen. Right? You got your first job, or some people get married, get children. Is really you're seeing all your peers doing all this kind of life changing, having things happening around you, but you're doing this every day, the same thing, and you don't even know it's going to work at all in the end. So yeah, it's a sacrifice.
Like how far in can you tell, okay, suppose you're 2 years in, can you tell, you know what, I have a chance or like I have no chance? There's a point in the time where people like kind of tell you, or professors or peers, like, suppose, cohort, like I'm making this up, cohort 100 people, and every test you're like number 99, right? It's like, do you like keep on going or like, how's that work?
So, not too sure about other departments, but for marketing, usually they try to uh, give you an overall evaluation your second year, kind of get an idea of what it's like being in academia, what it's like doing research. But you don't really know until you actually get your job. So you don't know until the very end.
So you might spend all those years and they're like, no, no go for you.
I mean, yes. So
That
it
would
could
suck so
be.
much.
uh, That's the risk you have to take. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You really have to enjoy this. Otherwise, it's just too much of a burden.
You have to be like super smart, genius level to get a PhD. I mean,
Well,
obviously you can't be like a box of rocks, I'm guessing, but
yes.
you have to be like, is there a minimum level of smarts you have to be that they want you to be or anything like that? Or
I think it's more like there is a minimal requirement of your dedication or ability to achieve certain, academic standards. You have to take all the classes. You cannot fail them, or you cannot bad grades. But I think in the end is more like the dedication that really sets people apart, or people who really just enjoy it, right? People enjoy talking about their research for hours. People enjoy go around the world and just spread the word of what they've found. It's really that the passion and the dedication. Those two are, I think, the most important.
can you start your PhD at one school and transfer and finish at another school?
Very difficult. But I think I've heard one person I've heard
Okay.
has done that.
All right. So let's suppose there's people out there and they're trying to figure out if they want to get their PhD, right? Can you, I'm gonna break this apart. Like, talk about the pros of getting a PhD, why they should do it, and then the cons, why they should not get a PhD.
Sure. So the cons are easy. we can we can see it from everybody because I always joke about it. When you think about PhD and you calculate your ROI, return of investment, it's negative because how much risk you're taking, right? So if people think, oh, I can't really find a job, I want to get a PhD to see if it's easier to get hired or make a little bit more money, then it's not really. But if you got somebody, it's like, oh, I have this dedication in me. I enjoy being a straight A student, or at least I really enjoy digging some question for years without knowing if I'm really gonna reach an answer. And I don't mind doing that, and I don't mind doing things 1,000 times, and they can really enjoy, being a researcher. The feeling of I'm, creating human knowledge. I'm being recognized on Google Scholar. If you enjoy that, that is for you.
So I'm guessing like you want to get a PhD, we'll say like in physics. You
Mhm.
need some kind of background in physics, right? Like you just can't have like a just can't have a master's in English. Oh, I'm gonna get a PhD in physics. Like, how does that play in?
Yes. So I think when I was applying for PhD, it was a little bit more, people have a little bit more freedom, right? I mean, for me, I was a business undergrad. So for me to get into a business PhD, it makes sense. But I've heard people from psychology, different areas that has related transferable skills or transferable knowledge that get into some PhD. But nowadays it's crazy. There are some students out there applying, already working on publications, already have their masters, and a lot of our PhD students in our program already have a previous PhD. So it's getting harder and harder.
So do they like you're gonna start your first teaching job soon, right?
Well, March 25th.
Or 25th. During the PhD process, any process, does anyone teach you how to be a teacher, or that's something you just got to pick up on your own?
I think it depends on the program.
Okay.
Some programs are more focusing on the teaching. Some programs are just like my program, focus more on the research side, but they want to make sure that you're not totally unprepared. So we take classes, we have training, but for a, let's say, tenure track for professor, the research is really the thing
Okay.
that counts toward your, I guess, your tenure. So
And is it a big difference between, this is a bad example, between being a professor at Harvard versus, North Dakota Institute Technical College, does that really matter?
so I think there are differences. For example, you brought up a really great example because I heard that Harvard has a lot of expectations from professors in terms of teaching. People have to start do a lot of preparations for their classes, and also I believe it's more different perhaps from other departments or other schools. But for business, we don't apply for grants or funding and things like that, so it's slightly less different. Um, yeah, so it's hard to say.
Okay. So can you speak into the class you're gonna start teaching March 25th? Like, what is it gonna be? Freshmen, sophomores? Like,
It's gonna be undergraduate marketing concept. There was a fundamental class here at UW. So,
okay. And is that gonna be? There's been like 100 students in the class, 50 students. Any idea?
well, right now, 34 students have registered,
Okay.
but the class is set out to be 80 maximum. So we'll
Um,
see.
and when they like go online, try to fill class, does this say like, Evie Smith, first time teaching, anything like that? All right, oh man, she's the first time professor. Let's go take advantage of her, right? This should be pretty easy first time.
Well, I wouldn't say it's pretty easy for the first time because, I mean, for us, we've been in school forever,
Yeah.
and a lot
So,
of
so you're gonna be like, I suffer for 6 years. It's your turn to suffer.
well, it's now gonna make them suffer, but I'm very familiar. And also,
Uh,
we TA,
yeah.
we teaching assistants, so we're very familiar with how to teach a class by now, hopefully.
So what are you gonna expect from your students?
Well, hopefully the students will have a really great time because at least for me, when I took my marketing class, that's the most fun. Because if you think about it, all the classes in a business school, accounting, finance, not everybody will be an accountant, CPA, or anybody will be a, exchange trader, but everybody's a consumer. Everybody's awesome. Everybody's seen advertisement. So it's the most relatable class and it's really most fun. So you get to see a little bit behind the curtain and then see what the businesses are doing, well, to trick you.
So suppose there's a student in your class, right? What can that student do to impress you?
What can a student do to impress me? Wow. Well,
Like
I
maybe he's at a 69.5 and he's like point 5 to get to a C.
I mean pretty much I respect honest work. So people who are, work hard, do the things, don't just come last minute. Oh, I totally forgot. The dog ate my homework. Oh, my mom was here. So I went out and had fun. Well, as far as people do honest work, and if I think what would impress me probably is they take an interest in marketing. If they actually, go out there and found something interesting, or they can really utilize the class or my teaching to help them to build their career. I think that would be very.
So how do you like determine the difference between like A to B student, a C student, or even like A to A plus student, right? How do you determine that? I mean, of course, those grades, but sometimes grades don't tell the whole story.
Yeah, that's why I believe a lot of businesses will actually ask the professor which student you recommend. 'Cause there are students who just hit the mark, want to, let's say, a cost minimization problem that they do. I just want to do the bare minimum, get the grades. But there are people who really enjoy the content, and then there is a connection. They realize, hey, I enjoy marketing. Maybe I'll become a marketing person. A lot of times you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, like I'm very competitive, so I try to get my best grades in school. Right, I'm very
Mhm.
competitive. Then again, what's the saying? C's get degrees, you know. So depends what your mindset is, I guess.
Yeah. So
I mean, if you're not trying to get like you're getting a bachelor's degree, you're not really trying to be a doctor or lawyer or like going to get an MBA at Harvard. Like, what does it really matter,
yeah,
Unless you're just competitive.
I mean, competitive is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very good thing.
Yes, it is. Well, I'm trying to be a little bit more holistic in
Mhm.
terms of students' effort. I don't want to be like, you're didn't do this exact same
Yeah.
thing. I will try to a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bad example. You have two students. One is student like, in one student's like, the son of a millionaire. He's gonna get his daddy's company in 6 years. But another student is like, second generation immigrant, and he has to get a good grade, get a good job to take care of his family, right? So obviously, two different mindsets, right?
Yeah, exactly. They probably have different motivations too.
Yeah,
Maybe perhaps one is more dedicated to do the work, and one is more um, actually may. Now I'm thinking about it. The first one may have more responsibility.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, he can take over his daddy's company or mommy's company, whatever the case may be, right?
but he's gonna also, let's assume it's a he,
Yeah,
gonna impact a lot of people. So.
yeah. He might have an attitude like this would probably be me. I'm taking my dad's company 6 years. That's a lot of stuff I could do. I'm gonna party my butt off until then. Like I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna do the bare minimum because in 6 years, it's all on me.
Well, if they're set out to get a C, then they get a C. Then.
Yeah, nice. So I know recently, I don't think this when I was going to college. How prevalent is like this called the professor grades, where like students grade you or give you like a Yelp of professors? Is that really?
Oh yeah.
I
Or you
mean,
can rate my professor.
yeah, is that really a big deal? Like, do professors get like hired, fired, raises off that kind of stuff? To me, I think it's kind of unfair if that plays any kind of impact.
Well, first of all, I think there's difference between a research focused professor and a teaching focused professor. For research professors, you have a lot more responsibilities in terms of research. So I don't think is as elastic as teaching. And then second of all, if you think about Yelp reviews, just like any consumer reviews, you usually get extreme.
Yeah.
So people will reasonably see, okay, of course, it's the angry people all the time, and only angry. A lot of times, only angry people would review. So compared to across all the other professors, or compared to your previous teaching, did you mess up? But if it's just people are angry, oh, I should have get a higher grade. People complain all the time.
Yeah. So what's your personal professional goal with your first class? Is it to like, make sure everyone graduates? Is like to be the best like professor in the history of UW? Is it like, is it like, what's your goal?
uh, well, so I think for me personally, I just want to help the students with my experience and my knowledge in terms of their future. Because I know sometimes, at least when I was in school, one or two professors can really make a difference. They can help you out with something you don't know, or really point you or show you something that you had no idea of. So for me, a success would just be, maybe 10, 20 years later, somebody will come back and be like, your class actually helped me in this, or even the smallest things.
So what's your definition of knowledge?
That is a very big question. Well, so far in academia, the definition of knowledge is we call it APUB, which is the top tier publication journals. So if you can publish in those top journals, you're peer reviewed, people accept it, and you present it, and that's considered the best knowledge, right? That's what counts for our career. So I think, but a lot of people realize that failures should also count because we have way more failures than success.
So why should someone pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college when they get all information on YouTube University?
Yeah. So I've been thinking about that question too because as we're seeing that a lot of AIs are taking over a lot of um, can we continue?
Yeah, yeah, keep on
Okay,
going.
so sure. Um, I think a lot of times the people, so the professors, the people around you, the companies that have relationships with the university, that's something that YouTube cannot provide. So a lot of skills, especially coding here in Seattle, coders don't need a college degree. Coders can start in their mom's basement and become the best coder in the world. They can do a lot of self-learning, but going to college is more this holistic view, how to think about a question, logically. How do you not get tricked by all these different companies or those campaigns out there? How do you protect your brain? And how do you become a rational thinker? And how do you interact with people around you? So I think that will not go away.
So obviously, I'm not asking you to represent all the college academia and all that kind of stuff, but what, from your point of view, what is the purpose of college? Is it like to help people find the best job possible, teach them how to think, like teach them how to socialize with different demographic groups? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
everyone sees the stats, right? Since I'm making this up, of course, since 1970, college costs has increased by 10,000 million percent. Wages only increased by 5%. I don't think college will ever like, supposed to help you find a job. To me, it's more like help you think and meet different people, right? But what's your point of view on what college is supposed to be for?
Sure. I mean, I agree with your point. So college should not be seen as a simple means to get a job. If you want to get a job, internships or trade schools or more skill based educational organizations could be better. Uh, a university is more a place for you to, I guess, learn, how to think, how to see things from different angles. How do you interact with people? How do you learn from different people, your peers, right? Put people in groups, and it's more to create people who are more holistic and understand things from all kinds of different angles. So it's a little harder for companies or organizations to trick them later on.
So you're gonna have like hopefully you have 80 students, right? And is a class like twice a week? Or how does that work out?
For this class is twice a week.
Okay. What time is it gonna be?
What time?
Yeah.
I believe
In the morning time sometime?
1:30.
1:30, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good class time. That's a good class time, yeah. Um, so, I mean, obviously, I don't think you tell me all the details of the class, but, like, are they have to do, like, some kind of research project? Like, I'm guessing they take midterm exams, final exams, like, projects, like
Well, teaching is.
but I mean, it's just, like, how
Mhm.
much time do you have to plan the stuff? You do, like, a lesson plan for the whole quarter, and someone has to approve it, or just say, "Hey," or you get to do what you can do with the left and right limits?
So for this kind of fundamental classes, we usually have a lot of previous people have taught
Mm,
it, so there are existing
okay. But
teaching
it's like a
materials helping
rinse and
you.
repeat kinda thing?
Yeah, and it's not that tied to your research, but my new position at University of Kentucky, that's actually more related to what I do because that's more mathematical, more research and analytics.
Can you talk about how competitive it was, or maybe it was not competitive to get the new job at University of Kentucky?
Well, he was, yeah. So we call it the job market. We don't have that many jobs. So all the jobs were actually posted on a Google sheet. Yes.
You're kidding. There's no way.
Yes, there's a
So
Google sheet.
PhD level jobs on a Google Sheets.
That's how few jobs are.
That's insane.
So I applied to almost every research position, and I believe that's about 50, 60.
And how many interviews did you get?
Uh, that depends. I believe the interviews are inflated because they change from the in-person one for first round to Zoom, so it's a
Okay.
lot easier.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many I got. It's a dozen or so,
Okay.
things like that. Yeah. So it's everybody talks about the job market is one of the most torturing experience ever.
Yeah, but people don't realize I don't care how good or bad the economy is, it's always sucks to find a job. No matter how good or bad the economy is. It's always hard to find a job.
I mean, sometimes it's a lot easier to find a job when the economy is growing,
Mm,
but right now, if you look at the economy, everybody's losing their jobs.
yeah.
So you have a lot of people competing and a lot of funding cutting. So a lot of schools will even have their whole interviews and then end up not getting the funding. So like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? It's tough for everybody.
Yeah. Um, is there a job you got turned down for that you really wanted? Like you're like, man, I know in your mind, like you ace the interview and everything lined up. You're my man. I have this job.
uh, so for academia jobs, I guess compared to industry jobs, one different huge difference is that it's a very fit based process. So do you happen to have an opening in that school, or do you happen to have a person there doing a similar study research as you? So it's so random. it's it's not just like it's not just vertical, like oh somebody has done more research versus less. It's I mean we wish it's kind of like, drafting, right? That would be so much easier. But it's not. Also, schools get to play a lot of strategic games. Talk about games, the schools sometimes they will offer you very early on, which is in my case, and then you have to decide: do I take the uncertainty, or do I just take this because they usually give you a timeline without finding out what happened to other schools without hearing back. So it's a mess. But
Yeah. So moving to something else. Talk about your time as a data ambassador I think it's USA for UNHCR.
oh yes, that's one of the.
When was that? Like, was that pretty recent? It's been a while
Oh,
ago.
that's a while.
Okay. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So, several organizations, I believe, Data Kind and the Gates Melinda Foundation, they got together. They have coders or data scientists volunteer their time to solve a lot of problems. So that's one of them. It's actually a really interesting way of donating your expertise than just money or time. I thought it was really nice.
And how long did you did you do that for?
Oh, so that was just one event.
One event? Okay. All right. And what did you get out of it?
I guess just to I mean, I encourage people to do that more than other kind of donation because you can actually donate your expertise and find out if you like this line of work or if what you can help with, and it's really fun.
And you did the kind of the same thing for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation?
That's together.
It's together? Oh, okay. Together, yeah. And was it a competitive process to even, like, be able to do this? Like, did you have to apply for this opportunity?
So yeah, so you apply
I would think so, yeah.
and then they assign you different tasks based on your background
Yeah.
expertise.
And back to PhD, during PhD, do you have to, like, are you required to do any kinda, like, pro bono stuff? Like, volunteer stuff or, like, I don't know, teach at a underprivileged school or something like that? Like, is it, like, any, like, give back to community stuff during the process?
So one of the most important ways for PhDs to get back to the community is to be reviewers. So you review your peers' work and give them feedback how to improve their research. So that's one of them. And also, I worked at the product management center, and we held a lot of events. Really fun. We have the inclusive product management summit. So we try to make the product management process more inclusive. And we also had the IPMA,
Okay.
Inclusive Product Management Accelerator, to help underprivileged or historically marginalized groups to help them get a product management job. We provide teaching. I believe originally it was 10 weeks. Um, so that was really fun and meaningful.
So you brought up something I totally forgot to ask you, but talk about the peer review process, how that
Mhm.
works.
So peer review process is how papers get published. and then that's tied to everything that's important to a professor. So you submit your papers to a journal, and then the journal has a senior editor, has associate editor, and they choose based on their expertise in a research area, and then they will assign usually 2 to 3 reviewers to your paper, and they review your paper, well, judge it, and but most importantly, they give you feedback of how to improve your research. So you get a couple rounds, 2 to 3 rounds of revision, and then they decide if that paper is published or not. So that's the simple process of paper gets published.
What happens if they assign your paper to like your best friend or somebody you know? Does that person, ethically have to say, no, I know Evie, I can't judge this?
Yeah, so you're not supposed to send it to any people that's associate with you.
Okay.
So
And can you send it to people like other countries?
yeah, so I don't think country of origin is really
Okay. As long as they can read the language it's written in, I guess.
yeah,
Now
exactly.
with Google Translate, I guess that doesn't really matter either.
Yes.
Um, so I'll make this up again. Like suppose your paper gets peer reviewed by 10 people. What number have to say yes for to get it approved? Like is that all 10 have to say yes, this is good? Or can it be 6 and 4, 7 and 3, or does that even matter?
I think usually for marketing journals is 2 to 3 reviewers.
Okay.
So you have a 2 to 3 reviewers approval, and you have the associate editor, and I believe in the end it will be the senior editor.
Well, these peer reviewers, it's not like they're getting paid, right? This is part
Yeah, this is
it's
the
part of
exact yeah, this is the giving back
yeah, the
part.
giving back
It's
part.
all free.
Okay.
When I review, I spend 12 days just, finding out all kinds of different literature, verify things I give back. So it's a lot of work.
Is there some that are out there showing like, like pose, I'll make this up again, like pose there's 100 people have peer reviewed marketing stuff. Does there so, John Brown has reviewed 10,000. Mary Jane reviewed 850, right? There's something like showing what how many peer reviews each person has done.
That I'm not too sure, but you can definitely decide how much effort you want to put in as a reviewer, and then definitely more experienced reviewers. A lot of times later on, they become editors.
Cool. And how many have you done so far?
Well, probably as a PhD candidate, I've done 3.
3? Okay. Nice. And of those 3, did you learn anything or like were you like kind of shocked, man, I can't believe they're doing this or like pretty much okay, I've seen this before. This is good.
Well, it all varies, right? Like some people have really good method, or some people have a very interesting idea. So those are all the things you can learn, and then you can see how other people write out, and but some also you can try to help them how to improve this. Oh, I've seen some other people have done it. Maybe
And so
they missed
so
part.
the person who's doing the gave you the paper, right?
We have a very small community.
Okay. So you pretty much
Usually
know.
people try to. It's all anonymous, but you kind of have
You
an
kinda know.
idea.
Like, you kinda know the writing style or whether researching.
More like the research area, but a
Okay.
lot of most of it you don't
Okay.
really know.
Okay.
You don't really know the people personally, because if you do, then usually you tell people, "Oh, I actually know this
Okay.
person," or
Okay.
avoid.
So will this be ethical to do? Like suppose you're reviewing a paper from John Brown somewhere.
Mhm.
You're like, man, this John Brown, like this is some off the wall stuff right here, right? This is insane. Like if he publishes this, people want to think he needs a mental institution. You're like, okay, let me professionally tell this guy, hey, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but from my point of view, they might take a PhD away from you if you publish this right.
So I believe, well, I only review 3, not that experienced
Uh-huh.
yet, but I would say
You know it's
usually
coming. You know it's coming. You know it's coming.
the SC and AEs usually they they look at the paper, they only assign you hopefully to
Yeah.
the ones that's more reasonable, not like totally just out there ridiculous. So
Is there like a publication with all these peer reviews on? Like you can go to the peer review magazine and look at all the peer reviews from like the year 2022 or something.
your reviews. So usually the reviews are private.
Oh, are they
So
okay?
yeah, only share
Oh,
with
they're
the
not public.
authors.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought they'd be public, honestly.
That would be fun, isn't it? All the reviews would be also public, so you know the whole process. You can
Yeah,
see who is mean and who is nice.
actually, I thought it was. The transparency, scientific, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm. Okay, I mean, that makes sense, but right now it's private,
Okay,
so
I mean, I can see
the
what's private
message yeah,
too.
the message is only to the author, because you
Yeah,
don't wanna publicly people's like, "This sucks," or "This is this is not good enough."
yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I can see both ways.
Mhm.
So you did marketing. Why? you kind of talked about this already, but why are you marketing specifically? Why not, like, I don't know,
Finance.
finance, business ethics, or,
Yeah. So accounting definitely, I think, is easier to get jobs from what I heard, and we're all kicking ourselves.
yeah,
Oh, why didn't we choose
but the
accounting?
cost, rich and bored to death, you know?
Disclaimer: some accounting stuff is pretty fun. Okay, so I think for marketing, I'm not sure how other people make their decisions. A lot of times, people based on the experience or something. But for me, marketing is the most fun. You cannot beat marketing. This really exciting stuff, right? Like, oh, fast-paced music make you eat faster. Oh, yellow and red together make you hungry. Like all this kind of like really fun things you get to see every day. Like, how can you say no to that? And also marketing, I always say that without marketing, our lives will be really boring because you're not really buying all this fun stuff like love, summer flower. You're just buying shampoo and soap. How boring would that be? You gotta
That's
have
so
marketing.
that's so funny. So, market is pretty expensive, right? So, what is the definition of market? Is it marketing? Is it like digital marketing, social media marketing, inbound, outbound? There's all this marketing
Oh
out
yeah,
there,
all this jargon.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
these jargon. So, what in the essence, what is the basic definition of marketing?
We usually try to simplify into how is four P's: price, place, product, promotion. So, but marketing is really how to present your product to the right people, I guess. It's really a lot. It's just so much. A lot of people when they think about marketing, they're thinking about advertisement or Mad Men TV show. But marketing is actually quite data heavy, uh, research heavy. A lot of times people do so much research before they even start the product because it's supposed to meet certain demand. You're supposed to find out who would like it. So there's just this vast iceberg underneath this tiny little thing people actually get to see every day. That's marketing. It's quite fascinating.
Can marketing influence someone to buy something they will probably not buy before? Like, suppose
Mhm.
someone's a single guy. I'm guessing marketing can't influence them to buy diapers, right? I mean,
I see. So how much you can really bend a person to buy some products?
yeah, that might never. Of course, if you're a single guy, probably have nieces or cousins or something with kids.
Mhm.
So maybe that's a bad example, right? But like,
But here you go.
yeah,
You just said it. It's never just to say this person will never buy your product. This is always ways.
yeah,
You wanna you want if you're a single guy, you're invited to a say baby shower. You want to seem more, warm
yeah,
and connecting to your friends, and then
yeah.
bring something that the couple would actually need, right? So that's the reason for a single guy to buy something. Always you can always find some ways.
And I'm sure you're gonna teach that to your people on March 25th.
Oh yes, hopefully my students will be the best marketers and sell everything they.
Can you talk about like how a business should target a demographic customer? Like how to go about doing that? I think a lot of startups, especially, they waste tons of money like targeting the wrong ICP, so to speak, or not even knowing the ICP.
Yeah, exactly. So the problem we're seeing for startups is that they a lot of times they're not familiar with the whole marketing process because a lot of startups we know, at least my friends, are tech heavy. They're focusing on the product, but a lot of times is what we teach in product management. You're supposed to do a lot of marketing research before you even start a product. Because how do you know somebody would need it? What kind of changes do you need? And when you make the product, who should you sell, right? A lot of times when people come up with a really good idea, I want to make this app. They always think, oh, I want to sell it to consumers. But like most people don't realize enterprise. You should start thinking about enterprise because according to the statistics, those are the people who look into this kind of technology. So I mean, I think startup people should take marketing classes just to get some fundamentals of how do you even deal with a product.
No, you're right. Cause like in my experience with startups, either there's two parts. One part is like you said, product. And they
Mhm.
build a great product. It's fucking fantastic. And then go outside, like no one knows who they
Nobody
are.
needs it.
No one knows who they are.
Yes,
Like, who are you? Like, I'm not buying something I don't know. Like they have
exactly.
no one where social media. And it's like they build something for a problem they have.
Yeah.
Just
So
because you have
you're
a
supposed
problem.
to build a product to solve a problem. Like there's supposed to be a gap you need to find
Yep.
that this person. versus what this person wants to achieve.
Yes,
If there's no gap, no matter how perfect your product is, this person's not
exactly.
going to buy it.
No. And the other side, I've seen people like market, 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 but have no tech at all. So have all these like wait lists and potential customers. And they're like, well, I have this diagram of this piece of paper, you know. So can you talk about how like startup founders can kind of find a better balance between the product and marketing? Because most of them, like all the most 99% of them get it wrong, right? Very few like able to link them together at the same time.
Yes, of course. So I believe the gap that you're mentioning of people's skills and mismatch with how to have a successful product is why product management is getting really popular right now. So what we're seeing is that you have people who are really great at sales. They go out, they have nice teams, have good connections, and you have people who are really good at some tech. Oh, I discovered this new thing. I started this cool idea, right? I have this new app, I'm doing this thing. So they're really missing the marketing piece because marketing is not sales. Marketing is not just product development. Marketing is it's this thing to bridge the gap between what a person really need, what they were trying to achieve, but the current products cannot. So how to find this gap is what marketing really is.
So what's so is there a difference between product manager and product marketing?
So, well, some people would definitely disagree with me because I'm basically saying product management is part of marketing, but truly believe so. Because marketing is about the research to find about your consumers, but product management is link that a little bit more to product development. So, before you start a product, when you have an idea, we have a lot of simple tests for you to, without even build the prototype, just to find out if this idea works, if you can find the market, who are you, who are the potential consumers will, use your product. And how do you get back to your developing stage and like, oh, this is what people really needed.
So from your point of view, let's suppose someone's starting a startup, right? Become a kind of some kind of tech product, right?
Mhm.
And suppose there's normally like three co-founders, right? Suppose there's three co-founders. So we won't count those first three as employees, right? But who should the first five employees be? Can you break that down? Like should be like three developers, a marketer person, a design. Like if you're starting your own startup, who would you
Mhm.
first? And money was no object, Like
Yeah, sure.
you had funding, right? You could
Yeah,
actually
you
afford these
have
people.
funding.
You could pay the people like
And
labor
you
market
have
rate.
kind of a product already going
Yeah.
on. Exactly.
Who would be your first five hires?
Um, well, if you're asking me, of course I'm gonna say marketer, right? A marketing person, but
Oh,
not advertisement or sales.
okay. What
Marketing
would
person.
that be your like number one person, number four
That would be
person,
the number one person
number one person? Okay.
because that's how I can find the potential of my product.
So we're assuming the first three, one is going to be a tech co-founder.
Yeah,
We're
they
saying, yeah,
already usually tech,
yeah.
perhaps some venture capital
Mm.
people, or yeah. Actually, from what I see, usually the starting people are all tech people. They
Yeah.
got together, got a great product, and some nice idea,
And then
right?
crickets.
And then, yeah, well, that's why you see a lot of startups, they sell their products to companies because the companies have marketing people know how to really
Yeah.
use them.
Because do you ever go to these pitch competitions here in Seattle?
Yes, I do.
I've been to some, like I go a lot. I pitch to some, right? Like New Tech Northwest is good, Founders Live, some other one. And you'll see somebody pitch like, man, like, what are they saying, right? Like, what are they doing, right?
Yeah,
The
and a lot of
product makes
times
no sense. But
exactly.
they're like, this is going to save the world. Like, from what?
I know. Oh, I don't know if you watch the show, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they have everybody pitches the same way.
Yeah.
We're FOMO, something, something. We're
Yeah.
gonna make the world a better place.
Yeah. All the
Keywords.
keywords. Yeah. All the
Yeah,
keywords
I know.
that venture capitalists want to hear.
Exactly. It's like then you can't really differentiate yourself from everyone else. So see, that's the thing. A lot of times when I go to this see their pitch deck and all that, it's like your product is so much better if
Mhm.
you found the right direction,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh, we want to sell it to this people. It's like, no, your product is so much bigger.
Yeah.
You can do so much better if you incorporate into like a totally different area that you totally did not think about.
Yeah.
And then they narrow themselves to this what they're familiar with. And then good products die. It's really sad.
A lot. And what people don't realize, like you can have the perfect product, perfect team, and your project's still going to fail. There's
Exactly.
so much luck to it, so much other stuff.
Yes. So to me, that's the lack of marketing power. So
Right.
I
So
really think that
marking number one, two through five.
two. I mean, we're in America, so
Yeah.
law related or regulation
Mm.
related, especially you deal with consumer data or any data at all. You need a security person to make sure that you're compliant.
Like a cybersecurity expert or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
or at least if you're, I mean, you were talking about tech,
Yeah.
because I'm seeing a lot of problems right now with the new, GDPR, CCPA, all that kind of things, and people are not careful with their data, how to handle that. So I think that's pretty important
Okay.
because I think that's a person between, I guess, security and legal.
Mhm.
And you must have a salesperson
Yeah.
to do the really unwanted work. Go
Yeah. No
drink
one
with the
wants to do
client.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one wants to do that.
And they
But
always talk about, you hear, it's like, do founder sales that you have like a million AR, but man, like who wants to do that, right?
oh my goodness, this is really, really hard. Salespeople, yeah,
And like, if you're a founder who has time, like, send emails out or
yes.
pick up the phone, like, I think the status, every 100 calls you do, you only get 3 answers.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a time suck, right? Who has to, but then they say, don't give it to someone, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I really find that salespeople, it has to be a personality.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you have to have that personality to be able to do
And you
this
have to
kind
be in
of
the
work.
right mood too. You can't have like you can't wake up in the morning, have a fender bender, your wife yell at you, and then start making calls. I won't do so well.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, a lot of times also a technical salesperson too will be really ideal. They
Yeah.
know the tech side, at least the jargons and words of it, and then they have the personality
Yeah.
to handle all this annoying things you have to deal with. I guess next person would be someone that's familiar with how funding works.
Okay. That's important.
Yes. So, what kind of venture capital you should go with? How do you use your funding? How do you, maybe limit uh, your valuation and perhaps show a little bit more growth because a lot of startups they get a lot of money and they don't show growth. But
Yeah.
there could be other ways.
Yeah. They get too much money and they get all these like golden offices and next thing
Yeah,
you
they
know.
go out and then buy a bunch of stuff, really fun, and make a really amazing office. But then, like, then it doesn't show up on the growth. So
Yeah.
you need somebody to perhaps what do you call this? Business managers,
Yeah.
people who are familiar with how
Mhm.
business is
Yeah.
evaluated or how funding works. You need someone like that.
From your point of view, what characteristics or values does a good marketer need?
Okay, logical thinking, not emotional. Not somebody's like, I'm gonna sell this cookie to all the moms in the world. Hold hard data. Find out why, who will be your target market. How do you price your products? Those are all hard data. Those are things this person needs to go out find things without any emotional or founders usually have this ideas of how they want to sell the product, but that not necessarily of how this product is going to succeed long term, right? So you need this person to be very logical and then knows how to evaluate a product, how to find who the target consumers are, how do you price things, who should you sell it with. It's a lot of things going into it. Logical.
Okay, there's a big difference, right? Logic and emotion. Very big
Hmm.
difference. So I used to ask this question later on, but it popped in my head now, so I ask it now.
Hmm.
Who have been some of your mentors during this process of you getting your PhD and this in life in general?
That is a great question because, at least in marketing in my school, we're assigned with this mysterious creature that's called advisor. So we work with advisors in or pretty early on, and then this person is supposed to be your parent, your friend, your counselor, your just everything, right? So at least my advisor named Jeff Schulman.
So
Everything.
to me, an even better question is this: who are you mentoring?
When my mentoring, um, so usually for PhD students, you try to help out the younger, newer PhD students. You try to tell them as much as you can, things to avoid. How do you help them? A lot of times, getting a PhD is, requires mental support. So,
So talk more about what is like game theory and mathematical modeling.
so game theory is mathematical But again, a lot of people are unfamiliar with what game theory is, and I think I just play Xbox all day.
Yeah.
So that's why I usually say mathematical modeling. I mentioned before, let's say Wikipedia definition is the mathematical modeling for the strategic interaction among rational decision makers. So if company A does what competitor of company B does something different, and then what company A do things differently, anticipating company B's actions. So it's kind of like playing chess. How do people interact? Are you familiar with decision trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So decision tree is a tree that's on a single player. If I do this, things could go this way, go that way. Where a game tree is just with multiple players. How do they interact with each other?
Okay. Is there a maximum number of people that could be on this game tree?
You can have a lot of people
Is
on
that,
the tree. Yeah.
okay. But obviously, like more people on the tree, the more complicated it gets and all that kind of stuff.
It could be.
Okay.
Depends on their decision or information, what kind of information they have. So.
Can you play around like, like, is the different models like one model, like if someone says yes, it goes like these models, they say no, it goes to different models. Like I'm guessing it's like limited, unlimited like models that can be made, right?
A lot of games. Yeah, I have a lot of different games. There's some really cute names too. I think people are most familiar with the prisoner's dilemma.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Which one is that?
So prisoner's dilemma is that you have two prisoners. Their decisions are if I confess or I don't confess. And then their punishment will be different, right? Because if one person confess, the other person does not, then this person, didn't rat people out,
Yeah.
will really get heavy punishment.
Okay. Yeah.
So and then
And then you're trying to decide what the other person's gonna say.
exactly what would really happen.
Yeah, there's a game show about that. I can't remember what it's called. It's something along. It wasn't like that. It was like some kind of same premise. Yeah. You're trying to think: is this a good person, bad person? Yeah.
Yeah. So game theory, a lot of people don't realize is anytime you have more than one, even including one player, but anytime you have any interaction, you can use game theory. You can use game theory in business negotiation.
So game theory, is it better to base it purely on logic or emotion combination?
So you do incorporate people's reactions, emotions, right? That's what we call utility function. Because whether you like it or not, it's actually incorporated
Yeah.
into the math.
All right, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole real fast.
Okay.
Let's suppose you're playing this game theory, doing decision tree, and it's a human, someone's a PhD, versus an AI.
Okay.
Who's winning, or who's losing, or it's like that's not, or is that not a fair question to ask?
Okay, I see what you mean. So you're saying that both those AI and human are solving a game theory
Yeah,
problem?
yeah, it's solving the same problem.
I wish AI could solve game theory
Yeah,
problems. That was so I don't have to do all this math myself anymore. But yeah, unfortunately, I even tried. I tried
yeah.
really hard to see if AI can come up with models.
Mhm. So it's not there yet,
Not there yet,
but it will be there pretty soon, though, right?
probably.
Don't think so.
Well, I personally don't think AIs are that intelligent yet.
Yeah,
They're
you said,
very good automation.
but you said yet.
Yet, yeah, we'll see. Well, I have hopes for neural networks,
Uh huh.
quantum computers as well. We'll see what comes out next.
So I read somewhere that some scientists think singularity is gonna happen in 2033.
2030.
Yeah,
And that's what would happen then?
like AI like is like on its own, like pretty much like a living organism.
That would be difficult, isn't it? They need energy.
Yeah.
I think
You know what?
that's what I really
You know what?
that's
No
so
one
big.
has ever said that before. Like
Yeah.
all these horror stories, AI is going to take over,
Yeah.
make us slaves. You're the first one to say something smart to say, yeah, just turn the power off.
I mean,
Like
if you
I mean, that's so fucking simple, right? I never thought about
pour a
that.
cup of coffee on them.
Yeah, just pull the plug, right?
I mean, because they consume so much energy. People
Mhm.
have no idea all the stupid questions. Will John love me?
Yeah, it's like
ChatGPT. It burns so much
yeah,
energy.
it is high computing power.
And unlike us, right? I get energy from eating burgers, chocolate,
Mhm.
whatever, banana, anything. Not computers. You
Yeah,
can't just dump an apple at it and
yeah,
it runs. It needs this pure, modified, filtered energy.
yeah,
That's the electricity. It's not that easy to get.
mhm,
Even in the Matrix,
yeah,
they need us as batteries.
yeah. I never thought about that. That's a good point, though.
So, I mean, that's why organic things, we have our advantages.
Yeah, man, that's a good point. Never thought about that. I never crossed my mind. Like just pull the fucking power.
Just pour coffee at them.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Man, so back to the game theory is like what makes it I'm guessing to me it's like it'd be a fun exercise to do, right?
Mhm.
Just a fun, but I'm guessing like ethics playing a role in it. I'm guessing like you had two people, like one was like most ethical person in the world playing against someone who's like the most unethical person in the world.
Deception is it's one of the,
I mean, because you're
fundamental elements.
if your ethics doesn't like doing that, quote unquote bad stuff, you would think that like you would lose versus someone who's like can just do whatever he wants to, right?
Well, that's the thing. Game theory incorporates that.
Mhm.
We do look at people who are honest agent, who are going to use deception, and sometimes we even have uncertainties. You don't know if this person's going to lie or
Yeah.
not, but I have to say, P% times this person could lie, could not lie. Game theory can get very complex. It's really fun.
And can you solve like political problems like
Yes,
like
definitely.
okay,
So
but
anytime you have interactions, that's why game theory is also used in war.
mhm,
How do you, if you, I do this, the other person will
yeah.
do this, and we'll anticipate each other's moves. It's kind of like playing chess.
And like is game theory kind of like poker, where like you might bluff and do something you wouldn't really do?
Yes, all incorporated. You can
Okay.
incorporate anything, human behavior, all these things you value. You may do one thing versus the other. It's all just it's analyzing and simplifying human behavior.
And does like culture play anything with it? Like people from Texas might think different from someone from the country of
Definitely.
Georgia
Yes.
versus someone from Uganda.
Yes, you definitely incorporate people's costs.
But how do you incorporate that?
So, for example, let's just say marketing, right? If I want to find those consumers. You and I are both competing for some consumers, and we call this thing horizontal differentiation. That some people would just prefer my product over yours, and then see, but then could be more costly to buy my product than yours. Build my products. So it's all those little things. What's your cost? What's the uncertainty? What kind of consumers may like? Do they like this product? If I build a new feature, what's the probability of this person or this group of people would actually like this feature? It's all incorporated in game theory. So you can really solve anything. You can build a model for anything.
I could be wrong, but it's like a game theory could go on forever and ever. Like,
Yeah.
well, how do you decide? Okay, we've at the this is the point we need to stop, or is there such thing as a winner loser in game theory?
Yes, there is definitely win or losing, but we assume people are rational, so they will choose whatever's better for them.
Mhm.
And once you achieve equilibrium, which is neither party will deviate from this equilibrium, and that's the end of a game. If you can find one, then that's the end of the game. But I do see people. I believe there is a professor in University of Nevada has a whole map of how Cuba move and the U.S. move, and that game's still going on.
Is it?
It's because there's so many possibilities. What could one person do?
Yeah.
Things would change, right? The world changes. What one would do, what would the other react? You know,
Does anything like this is a crazy question? Does things like parallel universes and multiverses, anything like that come into effect? Like we're playing this game here on Earth, but Earth 2021 version 16.3. This would happen.
I'll be more than happy to create a model to analyze the alternative universe or parallel universe. That would be really fun.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You can really, model for anything. The model for dating, model for eating food.
And there's like an app that does this. Like there's a computer model that like all game theory is done on, or you can just like I'm pretty sure you don't use Google
Mhm.
Sheets for this, right?
No.
So like it looks like a base model out there, like everyone uses like to do game theory on.
There are some fundamental models you can use
Okay.
from economics.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to build one, fortunately, only us
Okay.
right now.
Okay. Nice. Man, is there like a game theory game out there like anyone can play, like a game theory board game or game theory computer game? I think that'd be pretty
I mean,
cool.
if you think about it, any of the board games pretty much based on game
I mean, they
theory,
are. I
right?
mean, like Access to Allies back in the
Pretty
day, the board
much
game.
everything you play,
Yeah, you're right.
they're all similar to how a game theory model is actually solved,
Mhm.
right? You think about if I move to this place versus the other place, what could the probabilities of the other person will
Yeah.
take this? So you're really thinking game theory when you're
Yeah.
playing those kind of games.
One thing I don't people think about, or maybe they don't realize, like how we make millions of decisions each day that affect our lives, right? We don't think about,
Mhm.
right? I mean, maybe
You
even,
should.
I mean, anything like, wake up in the morning, we'll say 5 in the morning, instead of waking up, you hit the snooze and get up at 5:10. It changes your day, right? all these little things like, maybe as a younger kid, you were supposed to go on a vacation with your aunt or uncle, but they got laid off, so you had to stay at home. Because you stayed at home, you met, your best friend for life, right? If you would went the uncle and uncle would have met your best friend, right?
See, that's actually a good example,
Yeah.
right? Because like if I decide, let's say, I should I go to the concert or should I go to a family vacation, and then you make decisions. If I choose this, and then my best friend would choose to come to the concert with
Yep.
me versus go with their family trip,
It's
and then
it,
just all these things you can really actually
yeah.
model. It's like what's the probability if something goes
Yeah.
wrong with either decision?
Yeah.
So,
I probably spent too much time thinking about that. For example, like, close out this interview was over. I said, hey, you want to go get a coffee? That's supposed to say yes, right? And we had a coffee for 30 minutes and you're on the highway, but then it caused you to be in a wreck because you left 30 minutes late because someone else had a bad day and they were driving too fast, right? Or if you left on time, maybe, you were speeding, you got a ticket, right?
mhm.
There's all these like scenarios, right? Which is fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
That's why game theory helps you make decisions. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? If I
I,
go that way, there's a
I,
risk of accident.
I
So
could never
what
do
should you
game
do?
theory because I'd be like, they're 24/7. I'd be like an addict on that shit.
You'll be calculating all the time before you leave out the room.
Yeah, I'll be on there. Yeah, that's what happened. This happened. This.
Exactly.
And
But
then,
that you can actually model. Should I
yeah,
spend 2 hours try to calculate my way, or should I just go out there and take the risk?
now you're big time. You can afford to hire someone to do that for you.
I wonder if there's a really crazy computer out there inputting all the changes in the
Mhm.
potential changes in the world can really predict the world, right? That would be
So,
really nice.
so here's another rabbit hole. This game theory modeling, does that prove or disprove in a simulation?
A way in a
Yeah,
simulation. Well, then you have to define what a simulation is.
I'm not smart enough to do that, so I'll let you do that.
I mean, we could be in a
Yeah,
simulation, right? It's like when
I-
people die, just get unplugged and get
yeah,
back to the other real world.
yeah.
But how do you know you're not in?
You can't prove it. I joke around like if we are a simulation, I need to find a controller to beat his ass because like he's not doing my life right.
I know, right? Like, come on, controller.
Well, what are you doing, controller? You're not doing your job right.
Right. Could it also possibly like, is my existence just here to collect some data?
Oh man,
Right.
yeah. And we're here like for such a short amount of time too, right?
Oh, I mean, compared to elephants, yeah, but compared to bugs, I live forever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, multiverses, all kind of stuff's kind of intriguing, right? Simulations theory.
Hmm.
It's like I think it's all good, like to theorize about it, have a good time. But end of the day, like we're here, even if we're in simulation, it doesn't change anything, right?
Yeah, if I don't know about it, then
Yeah,
it's reality for me.
yeah,
So actually, just don't think it's a simulation and live and have fun. Buy
exactly.
narcotics.
Oh man, yeah. So man, this game theory stuff is it's pretty interesting. So basically, it's like a decision tree on steroids, so to speak.
Yeah, with multiple players.
Okay.
It's really fun because once you put your mind through the darkness of game theory,
Can you
you
just
see things more
can you
clearly.
just join like a random game theory going on? Like,
Random game
yeah,
theory going on,
yeah.
just like,
Like like a lot of people like they'll play like a World of Warcraft online. Just they randomly join a game.
well, I
You
don't
like
know how many
can you go somewhere online like, hey, they're doing
let's
a
do a game theory.
yeah they're doing a game theory on what happens if like China invades Russia.
There are plenty of people who actually are doing that and getting
But
paid to
how
do
how
that.
would some random person join that? Was it possible? Or you have to join from the start?
I'm not sure if you can do that, just
That'd be so cool.
joining,
That'd be just so cool to do.
but then, study game theory.
Mhm.
And then you can start
Okay.
building your model and see what kind of add players, add the sequence of the game, add information set, add their payoffs, and see what happens.
What's the game theory you want to do? Like, what's the game theory you want to like start?
Well, right now, my dissertation is on AI fairness.
Okay.
So if firms choose to make their AI fair, what's really going to happen?
But how do you define fair though?
Oh, those are predefined. So
They're
if they
predefined.
want to make it,
So you define it or someone else does?
someone else did.
Okay.
So I say, because if I define it and then companies don't really use it, it's not very valuable. So I pick whatever's the most popular and I find out if company does that, who would do what?
Okay.
Who is more likely, the people, consumers you try to protect, or say the general consumers, who is it going to benefit, who may actually get hurt. So it's that kind of, you play things
And
out.
you doing this game theory right now?
Yes, I'm doing it right now.
How many people are like doing it with you?
Well, me and my advisor.
So there's 2? Don't you need more people?
No, you don't.
You don't? So is that like a competition between your advisor? Like, do you have a different sides? Like, is one like AI is gonna be very fair, AI is gonna be very unfair?
So for that,
Like,
it's
do you have to
more.
have a what's the word I'm thinking about? The, hypothesis. You have to have a hypothesis?
Yes, you
Okay,
have some
okay,
hypothesis, and I use math to prove it.
okay. So who's gonna win, you or your advisor?
We're not playing against each other. He helps
You just
me.
said everything's
He helps
competition.
work. So it's more like well, it's for dissertation, so
Yeah,
you're more
yeah,
independent.
yeah,
So you
okay,
make this whole thing your advisor, make sure that makes sense.
okay. So do you think you'll be able to prove that AI is gonna be fair or unfair?
Well, I would prove what would happen if
Okay,
firm does one thing versus the other.
okay. What do you think you're gonna prove? Or what do you wanna prove?
Well, what I'm approving so far is that when firm decide to implement AI fairness policy algorithms, and
Mhm.
I'll try to make my AI fair across different consumer groups. It depends on how many people prefer one. I'm thinking so. Okay, if you just talk about this, I can have the elevator,
Uh-huh,
right? So I'm looking at companies who provide content to people. Think about YouTube, TikTok, those kind of places, and they try to match the content to your preference, right? The better they match what you like to watch, the more you watch. So, but it's systematically worse for certain groups versus the other. So that's already shown. And then it's not very fair, right? How is that it's constantly better for you than for me? So the firms can make a decision then, do I make it fair? Do I make it the same accuracy for different groups or do I not? So then I find out what would happen if they go ahead and did that. What would really happen if people decide, oh, now you're doing this and I'm not going to tell you who I am, right? I'm not going to tell you if I'm single or male or things like that. And then if that's the interaction from their users, what would this fairness policy really impact?
so how do we fix this, right? A lot of people like, "Let's go to AI, AI is gonna do all these bad things." My thing is like, how do we make sure the people coding the AI are ethical, right? Because already, like in all these, there's a lot of HR recruiting apps coming up. They're being proven to be biased. Facial recognition
Yes.
has been proven to be biased. Like to me, if the person coding is like clueless on the stuff, hasn't been trained or whatever, I mean, that might be a bad word, but like doesn't know how to like do the right thing, quote unquote. Maybe, I mean, they think they're doing the right thing, but they're not right. Like, how do you fix this? Because only, I'm guessing only so many people know how to code AI, right? It's not like a skill that everyone knows to do, right? So how do you like, I don't know. I think it's a
Solve
something.
AI fairness issues.
Yeah, it's like I don't
Yeah.
mean.
Right now, it's extremely difficult, as in my dissertation is showing you. Even if you're trying to make it good, because of interactions, it might have unknown consequences. But AI fairness is a really big problem right now because, as you mentioned, the thing is when people think about, oh, this person built an AI, it's never just one person.
Oh yeah,
Random groups get fired, hired,
like
vendors here and there. Like it's so
yeah,
many people.
any tech product,
Any tech product.
like even like Facebook, the same developers started Facebook in 2000 whatever, is not there anymore, right?
And especially with AI, right? A lot of like neural networks is all black box. Even if say I built it, I have no idea why the results came out this way. It's not like I can really pinpoint, oh, it's because this, weight is wrong, or I should do this. Like, no, you can't. When you think about the complexity of our LLMs right
Mhm.
there, right? The whole internet as their data. Like, how do you know which one is wrong? You can't. I don't know, if we talk about AI problems, I can be here all day.
Oh yeah, no, that's no problem. But yeah, it's and one thing like I've talked about before, like a lot of people scared of AI because it's gonna take jobs, whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, jobs have been lost through generation, right?
Anything takes job away.
Yeah,
Washers, dishwashers,
yeah.
no longer a job, right?
Example,
Horses lost their jobs.
yeah, like back in the day when the cars came, you
So
know,
many people. Yeah.
yeah, those people don't realize this. Like the big cities, there are people who go by horses and shovel the horse shit off the street, right?
Yeah. What
They,
happened to the shovelers?
yeah, they lost their jobs, right?
Exactly. They lost their
I
job.
mean, hopefully they found a better job, but who knows, right?
Exactly. That's the key, Jay. That is the key. That's what I believe. Technology is supposed to relieve you from your terrible job
Mhm.
so you can do a better, more fun job.
But how do we balance this, right? This might be a bad example, right? I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. But I know for a while the big thing is like, anonymous semi trucks, right? They
Mhm.
can drive themselves.
That's
We, we
fantastic. Who
need,
wants to be a truck driver?
a lot of
Right in a
people,
car for 20
a
hours?
lot of people do.
Not if they have something better.
A lot of people do. A lot
Sure.
of, so let's suppose like, I think I'm making this up. I think I read this 250,000 truck drivers, right?
Mhm.
Like as a society, we're not ready for $250,000 people just lose their jobs, right?
I
So,
know, it's the
so
speed that's
yeah,
really the
the speed, that's
problem.
the speed. What do you do? Like, suppose a truck driver makes, I mean, they can make a lot of money, right? But
Let's
suppose
just say make a, 100K.
100K, yeah. But man, how do you place 100K, right? And not only that, how do you place, that's their job, that's their livelihood. Like, I'm a truck driver, I'm a
Mhm,
policeman, I'm this, right? A lot of
mhm.
people, good or bad, their whole life is like based on what they do, right? And
Yes.
so how do you like, and like you said, tech's way up here, society is usually way down here, right? And how you close that gap, right?
Well, I think any problem in the society when you look at this large scale is really the speed.
Mhm.
You cannot change things too fast
Yeah.
for a country or for a society because if you move things too fast and then you break a lot of things.
Mhm.
Graceful,
Yeah.
but but that's true, right?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden I'm replace all my, for tech support people with an AI.
Yeah.
And all those people lose their jobs and it's gonna cause a lot of, complex then they no longer buy things from this coffee shop outside of their
Yeah.
office and they lose their job and then they lose property value. It's a very domino effect. It's
Yeah. A lot of people think AI is just for like high tech jobs, but I've seen videos where like, robot cleaning bathrooms, right? All those janitorial jobs are gone. I've seen a
not
robot.
necessarily a bad thing.
No, I don't think so either. I've seen like,
It's food.
yeah, I've seen robots, like, picking the fruits in fields, right?
Mhm.
All those jobs are gone, right?
Yes. So that's to me, that's nice. Like who really wants to sit there and fry burgers?
But if you're making,
It's the money that they don't
yeah,
want to lose, right? The
yeah,
stability, the money, the
yeah,
opportunity. So if we can find other ways for them to get this thing, it's not really the job itself that people are saying,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm sad, I'm no longer, scrubbing the floor." No, it's not the floor that's the problem.
it's
It's
that
the stability.
income.
Yeah, it's the income.
So do you think that leads us to becoming like where we do UBI, universal basic income? Is that a solution?
Well, I do think that given the speed of a technology adaptation, uh, education will be really helpful to help people to find because the speed is too fast, right?
Yeah,
People on their own cannot catch up with all these changes. So, but there are a lot of jobs that's still needed, and we don't have enough people,
yeah,
right? Like tech support, those can be achieved with reasonable, not a PhD,
yeah,
6 years of pain, but reasonable amount of time, and then they can go to those new jobs that's more needed, more fitting for, I guess, the technology world. But I'm not all pro AI,
okay,
even though I study
yeah,
AI, because a lot of times it's not just saying, "Oh, we're using AI for this." It should be helping you,
yeah,
but then people assume we will be helping people. They overestimate AI's ability, and then people let go,
yeah.
and then they just become terrible.
What's that thing? It's like a theory or motto where it says like tech advances, like it doubles every 18 months.
Oh, yeah, I've heard something like that before.
Yeah. I don't think what it's called, but like people like me, like I've gone to Pong to like AI, right? And like it's like bam, like, even you think about, the first plane flight was like, I make this up like 1908, whatever,
Mhm.
on the moon in 69, going to Mars,
Okay, that I think that depends. I
yeah.
think you and I perhaps feel more this way because we live in Seattle.
Mhm.
Have startups popping up
Yeah.
every day. And always like your versions, you have to constantly update every 6 hours any of your apps. But when you look at on the West Coast, it's super fast. But you go, from Seattle down to the East Side, it's a little slower.
Yeah.
People don't adapt. All those people still use faxes.
Mhm.
Go to Europe and 20 years behind. I mean, think about French internet.
Huh.
But yes, so I don't think the world is moving as fast as
Okay.
people are thinking.
So you think we're just in this bubble, tech bubble, so to speak?
It could be,
Okay.
right? Because I'm living here, so I'm obviously biased because I'm constantly seeing all this new startups, all this new things. Oh, you don't even need doctors anymore. Your doctor will, surgeries on you across the
So
ocean.
that brings a good point. How many quote unquote average Americans do you think have no idea how advanced tech is, right? Most people pick the phone up,
Hmm.
they have no idea how it works, what goes into it, like the computing power, the
Hmm.
coding, like they have no idea what this is. And they get mad. Like there's a comedian he just bit on TV. I can't remember his name, but he said he was on a plane and like they're like 10,000 feet in the air. This guy like, God, other guys like, God damn it, my internet isn't working. He's like, dude, calm down. Give it a second. There's a satellite in space. you know, and a second later, the fucking internet kept on, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're, like, so, like, not the word greedy, but, unappreciative, right? Like,
Mhm.
you're flying us in a plane in the sky, and you want, you know, high demand internet, right?
So, to me, I think for a lot of, there's a theory is that people always overestimate how much they know something works just because they use it. Like, their example is, how do you explain how toilet works? Do you know the details of how a toilet works?
No,
Help
no, and I don't wanna know.
exactly.
Like,
So
do you really wanna know how all the waste goes somewhere, some kind of plan to go somewhere, and it goes to water and blah, 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 blah.
yeah, so
I
most of the things we
ignorance is
have no idea.
ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, well, number 1, we only have this much attention span, right?
Yep.
Like, your brain, you only have this much energy, per day. Can you really sum up all this energy, knowledge around you? Second of all, people don't pay that much attention.
No, they don't.
That's why marketing works a lot of times for advertisement. It's like, if people really think about what they're buying, they're not, but people usually are not thinking about it. So, like, your attention, how much attention you pay, how much energy you have to learn this kind of stuff, it's not there, right?
No.
I don't know how a lot of those things work
Yeah.
at all. So I don't think
But luckily, there are people who do, and thank God for
luckily,
them.
yes, thank you so much for whoever made this, and I have no so but that's a big problem
Mhm.
for, technology a lot of times is right now, hot topic is data and privacy. Safety of your data, people have no idea, right? There are a lot of apps out there people just download and use, right? The famous ones, TikTok, Tamu, I think that's the one people
Yeah.
shop on.
Mhm.
Multiple papers study they're problematic. They could be laced with malware,
Yeah.
and they could be sending your data to all kinds of different places.
But, okay, let me push back a little bit. So, I understand, like, you know, if you're like a US senator or
Mhm.
general running nuclear weapons, you know, that stuff matters.
Mhm.
But you're like Joe Blow, plumber,
Mhm.
working 9 to 5 in, you know, somewhere town, Arkansas.
Mhm.
Does your data really matter? Does it really matter if the Chinese are tracking you?
It still matters because Joe Blow can have, you know, 401k somewhere saved. They can have some nice cars, you never know, or they can be there, impersonated. Like, it's just not good to have this kind of problems. Like, everybody has something to lose, hopefully, right? So you don't want that. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't care. They can have my data." But if once they have your data, they can manipulate you, right? I can only I there's a interesting little paper on how TikTok, if you start on watching something a little sad, after a few, videos, it will send you down a path of suicide. And then suicide rate is just raised so much ever since social media, is that you cannot ignore this kind of problem. Yeah, you can be at Arkansas, but you can still be prone to all these problems, right? May still have teenage girls around you who would suffer from all these kind of different issues. So,
Very good point. That's a great point, actually. Yeah. So how do people protect their data, right? 'Cause, like, you know, you're seeing all the, like, on, like, we'll say Facebook, someone put,
mhm,
"Oh, I'm tired of, you know,
mhm.
so and so sending me these ads, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired of Facebook doing this." And next day, "Hey guys, I'm at Burger King with my Aunt Elise, and, you know, my aunt and my uncle, you know,
Yeah.
my whatever, you know," and, like, and they're, like, take a
Share their
picture.
location, all
Yeah.
these things.
Take a picture of the license plate number on the car, you know?
Yes.
And, like, then, like, "Didn't you just say, like, they're stealing your privacy?"
Not just people. I mean, soldiers have that issues, and then people, successfully track them, and then
Yep.
bro, get
I
rid
mean,
of them. So that's a real problem
yeah,
because people
I
don't
think it's
realize.
good and bad, like, I used to be a real big fan of Snapchat. I'm not there no more, but the one thing about Snapchat, it's good and bad, right? There's a thing called Snapchat Maps where any one of your friends could track you as long as you had it on, right? So, my thing
Mhm,
was, like, I had it on, so I was, like, doing maybe I was going hiking the mountains or doing
mhm.
something, you know, like, somewhere people know I was at, right? Of course, it's bad because if you had to turn it off, any random person can, you know, see where you're at, right? Those are pros and cons.
Yeah, so that's why I think people we should have some education out there, just the basics, how to protect yourself from the most obvious things. It's like, come on, those companies are getting questioned, testifying in front of Congress.
Yeah.
Like, pay a little bit of attention. Like,
Yeah.
don't just be manipulated. And also, there is a really interesting study saying, okay, I'm using TikTok again
Oh,
because they're the known one because they've been in there for a while. They're saying apparently they promote science, math
mhm.
for certain audience, but they promote silly, dumb stuff for other audience.
Yeah.
They obviously trying to divide
Yeah.
what's cool for the children.
I'm part of both audiences.
But there's like an obvious skew of
Yeah.
what's promoted, what's showing
Yeah.
on top of the feed. And it's like, well, that's no good. You don't really want that because
Yeah.
children, easily influenced, and they're not children. Everybody is
Yeah.
easily influenced.
Yeah.
But just like you don't want that to happen to you, right? You want to protect yourself. You want to
Yeah.
make decisions on your own, not be pushed to make some bad
No, you're
decisions.
right. Cause like I'm on the thing called the STEM feed on TikTok. Like all these scientists, like it's like great smart stuff. And then of course there's like the other stuff.
Oh, let's go dump this thing on our head and see
Yeah.
what happens.
But that's all social media, right? I mean, Instagram, Facebook, there's always good and bad. Like Facebook is good because connect with people you've lost contact with, and it's
Mhm.
bad because you connect with people from back then.
Yes. I mean,
Like,
yeah, sure, but the difference is that Facebook could be bad for everybody,
yeah,
where TikTok is targeted market. It's
yeah,
good for their own country.
yeah,
So
yeah. TikTok's just so user friendly, though. I mean,
that's why. That's how they get you.
I know, yeah, yeah. I spend way too much time on there. I definitely love the STEM feed, right? It's like so much like great stuff on there, like science, like it's just amazing. But then there's the stuff like, man, why is this on my feed for? Like, what am I doing?
Yes. Why is it on your feed? Why is it sending you sad stuff? I
Yeah.
mean, there's just a lot of studies on that.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm a little biased because I study AI fairness, so I get to read and see a lot of those kind of reports out there. So, I
So
mean,
speaking of hacking, I read somewhere where I think it said like 61% of companies have been hacked. And the thing is, like, like what's worse for a company to be hacked or for a company hacked and they don't tell no one, right? Because how many companies are getting hacked, they don't tell anyone, right? Like how many companies get hacked and like things called man, what's it called? Where they get blackmailed to pay money, right?
mm,
Hey,
Princeton.
yeah, ransomware. It's like, hey, ABC towing. I think good example was the Baltimore school district had to like
Yes.
question, but what happens like, like some, I don't know, ABC towing company gets hacked. Hey, pay us $1 million and tell everyone. And they pay $1 million and no one knows. Of course, to fair with that, next year they come back, hey,
Mhm.
pay us another $1 million, right?
I mean, for companies, I can see how they make decisions because I usually take the company side.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Do I tell people, is that really going to help my brand? Is transparency good? A lot of times you have to disclose.
Mhm.
But the one big problem you're forgetting is that a lot of companies don't even know they're hacked.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it's just like, as far as you have data, you're always at risk. So it's like people have to really just pick up this idea that you gotta
Yeah. Yeah.
actively
How many
protect
companies don't know?
yourself.
Like, how many companies have been hacked and they're losing like, 0.1 penny on every transaction, right? And they have no idea, but then it adds up, right?
And also, like, their data could be poisoned, and then
Mhm.
their algorithm is poisoned, and their algorithm just gave them very bad, decisions. Do
Mhm.
you really
Yeah.
trust them, or do you trust your actual educated instincts? Like, oh, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And also, like that interesting case, the person was in Hong Kong, I believe. They lost millions of dollars because fake AI generated people got on a call with him, and then that was their CFO. He believed that's really the CFO, and then his coworkers.
Because it only takes like I think it only takes 3 seconds for AI to copy your voice, right? Something insane.
Something very, yeah, I think I've seen one of the decks. It's like they just take a few sentences you say, and then they can just make it up, and then images, right? So that was the famous case. It's like that's a little crazy.
To me, the scary thing is like, you're a grandmother living by yourself, you're 75 years old, you get a call from your granddaughter. Hey grandma, this is your granddaughter. I'm in trouble. Uh, I'm in, I got a DUI, I'm in jail. I need you to send me money to this address. Everybody will be all right. Of course, your grandmother or any, gonna say yes automatically, right?
Mhm.
And then before you know it, they have access to your bank account and you're
Yeah,
done.
and then your data is on a dark net, and then it's all being showed
What's it
and
called? I
released.
think called the dark web.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know this kind of cases really makes me very angry. Just oh, so bad. So I really hope that you know technology grows, we also have the safety guards grow with it,
Yeah.
because you just can't. Like, as an individual, there's very little we can do. I mean, there's something basic things we can do, but like on a larger scale, like my data is at a hospital and gets hacked. Like, what am I supposed to do about it?
Yeah. I mean, your data's everywhere, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
your data is everywhere. There's some important stuff.
yeah.
Your banking information,
Yeah. Where
hospital,
your bank. Yeah.
education. Come on, those are famous
I mean,
targets.
I mean,
Like,
what?
what are
Yeah.
we gonna
Yeah.
do?
What happens if like your hospital or your doctor stuff gets hacked?
Yeah,
Or your
exactly.
personal
They found
information.
all your private information,
Yeah.
everything, and they can, start target you whatever ways. I don't.
Yeah. But what can, like you said, what can you do, right? I mean,
Yes, that's why
unless you just want to go completely off the grid, right?
you can't do that.
I mean, you can't be moved. I don't know,
Oh, like
a cabin in
oh, you
Montana, a
can't.
cabin in Montana, right?
What is the movie called? Enemy of the State?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
like Nestor you.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely dark in the web, like go somewhere no one knows who you are, whatever,
Yeah, you can't do
But then,
that.
yeah, like everything, like you can't have no cell phone. You can have, I mean, I guess you can have a track phone or a burner phone, I guess it's called, right? But
Yeah.
like, how you going to pay rent? They want it online and stuff.
Especially, yes. So we did a little bit of experiment. We went to the mall, went to a lot of places, see how many people still take cash.
Mm.
A lot of business don't even accept cash anymore.
Oh,
If you don't have a, and then you go to a restaurant, you sit down, they're like, oh, here, scan this code.
yeah,
Want to scan your code? I don't know what can happen. Anything can happen with a
yeah,
QR
yeah.
code. Anybody can lace it with something bad and get it on my phone.
Oh man, I never thought about that.
He's terrible. And just like
Oh my
scan it.
goodness.
Like, I don't want to
Ah,
scan it. Can I
see,
have a paper menu? It's
see,
like, no, you can't have a paper.
I've always been the opposite. Like, I don't want no paper in the menu. I want to scan it. I got to change my outlook on life now. Talking to you, I never thought about that.
Oh,
Oh
sorry.
shit,
I didn't mean to put fear in your heart.
I'm so scared now.
No, we're just like so annoyed. And well, it's also because like my husband is in cybersecurity,
Uh,
so I'm constantly reminded, don't ever plug it, like don't ever plug your USB directly to any charging device.
Yeah,
Like, don't do that.
yeah.
That's the one way to do it. Like, don't scan random stuff. It's like, oh
Yeah.
man.
One thing I do, like, I would never, like, randomly like, I'll randomly join a Wi-Fi, say, at Starbucks. I'm just, like,
Mhm,
looking on YouTube, doing some job research, but
mhm.
I would never, ever, ever, like, join a random Wi-Fi and do a ba
No,
and do a bank transaction, right?
no, do not do
No,
that.
I'd never
Even
do that.
Starbucks, like
Yeah,
any of this Wi-Fi's out there,
yeah.
like it's not very
If
safe.
I'm just on there, like, check email, maybe I'll do it, but, like, do it
Well, it's a little dangerous
is
because
it
people can send you phishing emails
yeah,
or
I live dangerous like that, but as
yeah.
far as, like, doing bank transactions or
No,
checking credit cards, no,
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 no.
no.
Yeah,
But so many people don't know that, right? A
most
lot
people don't know
a lot
that.
of people think, "Oh, it's the internet, it's secure."
Yes, which is too bad. That's why I think iPhone has this warning. It's like this network is
Yep.
unsafe. Do you
Yeah.
wish you want to connect it? Like a lot of people just ignore it
Mhm.
because I've seen so many like our own grandparents constantly receiving all this
To
phishing
me
emails, things,
to
buy
me
Apple credit cards, gift cards.
to me, there's a lot of shit people, but you have to be the top of the shit people list if you try to scam old people, right? If you're a person, like, you calling random old probably there's somebody out there with an email list of, like, people over 85 years old. 85 years old, living by themselves, and they're probably lonely, right? And they just wanna talk to people, and, like, to me, you just a fucking shit person, right?
I have
Yes.
a lot of anger towards people
Yeah.
like that. It's
Like
I'm just so
like,
sick
I
of
don't believe
that.
the death penalty, but for me, the electric chair should be brought to their fucking house.
Those are terrible, and
You hear the
it's
stories all the time, like, people, like, having $1 million in savings, they lose it because, "Hey, if you send me 100,000, you get this much money, right?" And it's fucking shameful, right?
it's
It's
just awful. Yeah, I'm very angry at this. So much, and AI is making it easier.
yeah. All right, so let's change the
Mhm,
thing. What are some pros? What are some good things about tech? How is tech actually making our life better? How is tech AI
mhm.
making life better for everyone? I mean, it actually is.
Yeah, obviously, right? Like I was just watching some old TV shows, people getting lost, looking at directions, like, thank goodness that doesn't exist
Big ass map.
now. And they
Unfold,
get lost.
unfold, unfold.
It was terrible. It was like, wow. And most of the horror movies would not happen if they just had a smartphone or some signal. Most of the horror movies back then, just not gonna happen, right? So, like, definitely is trying to make our life better, right? Especially like in terms of work, I know that they're trying to remove all this repetitive, boring, terrible work that nobody wants to do. So tech, in a way, I mean, I think it's mostly good. We just have some issues with it that we need to fix. That's just
Here's one for you. You don't think about this. I just thought about it. Can you imagine how much work got better, how much work improved with copy and paste? Just something as simple as that, right? Just copy and paste.
yes.
Instead of like, just since like people back in the day were like, type, 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 type.
I just cannot believe that's like, how is that even
It's pretty
possible?
recent, right? It wasn't that long ago.
Madmen have
When
that.
yeah, when like people like, like even the computer like print something up, type something up, print off, type it again. How much money has been saved with the simple thing of copy and paste? It has to be immeasurable.
Yeah.
Something
So
as simple as that.
definitely, think about technology is like, a lot of people are like, I want to go back in time. Like,
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I need penicillin. Like, no, I'm not going back.
Oh yeah, like you have people like this is like off subject. You have like environmentalists like I want to go back, where there's no gas, no cars, whatever. Do you really want to go back to the 1800s where it's like you got to shit outside, cold showers, like do you really want
The
that?
guy got a rose,
Exactly.
second finger and he died.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I mean,
Or you get bit by a mosquito, you die from malaria.
anything, just die all the time. We're just walking pieces of steaks into nature.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm happy right now.
yeah, I'm happy about technology. But
Yeah.
yes, I mean, no cars or gas. That could be better. I mean, if we have better energy source,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I mean, living in Seattle, I'm a little skewed. I love tech, right? But
Yeah.
I do feel like a lot of times also tech make us slaves of the tech.
Yeah.
We
Who controls
all,
what, right?
yeah, like I feel like every day I'm the slave of my computer
Hmm.
to do all these
I got to
things.
check my email.
Yeah, like I'm not going outside, walking or anything. Like there are days, I mean, probably because of a PhD student. But, like so there are days I don't even leave my room and
Yeah.
I just don't even see the sunlight. But again, Seattle, who does?
Yeah, especially between what November 15th to
Oh my,
March 15th.
oh my gosh. But yes, so like I just feel like constantly have to take care of my tech. Oh, I have to constantly updating, have all this tech debts now. I have to upgrade everything, get new versions. It's like so much work.
Yeah, tech's a good thing. So here's a question for you. So you have three choices: stay today,
Mhm.
500 years in the prep in the past, or 500 years in the future.
Obviously, 500 years in the future.
Would you?
Well,
Why?
also,
Y-
probably
y-
because in my imagination, the future is more like Star Trek Next Gen. We
Or
eliminated
or
poverty.
or it could be Mad Max.
Oh, could be Mad Max. Everybody's like super sandy out there, all
Yeah,
tattooed up.
maybe nuclear apocalypse. Dark winter.
Yeah.
I'm happy here.
Um, I was happy.
Now, if I could like go back, like the Roman Empire times, like stay a week and like check stuff out and be guaranteed.
You can survive a week,
I mean, yeah,
right?
yeah, that's true. But that for a week, then come back and then go to the future for a week. I want to go there permanently, right?
Yeah. Well, now we know now. So both past and future are uncertain, kind of, what would happen to you. So you're most familiar here.
Or maybe go 500 years in the past and get and like pick your way to be the Roman Emperor's advisor and tell him do this, don't do this, don't that, right?
Or you die touching a rose.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's always there.
Or you eat some random piece of meat because you're hungry as shit,
And then you just
and
die.
it's filled with maggots. You don't know it.
It's terrible, and then you ate a wrong mushroom. Or
Yeah, and you're like, no one showers.
there was no FDA back then. You ever think
Like,
about why perfume exists?
yeah. Oh, talk about OSHA, like FDA stuff. So I was in Vietnam for 10 days in September, right? And so it was crazy as shit, right? So I'm in the hotel. The next to us, they're making the scaffolding, right? These dudes are like 6 feet high, no harness, using power drills in fucking flip flops.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. I'll show you the picture after you get off this, right? It was insane. Right? I'm like, what the fuck?
Wow,
And they're like,
that's really brave.
and they're like jumping from scaffold to scaffold. And it's like the distance of this table. This isn't far, of course, but it's still far, right? Yeah. But 5 years ago, there's none of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, usually I would say the future
Yeah.
because hopefully the future will be slightly better. But again,
But then,
be
you transfer,
way
you do
worse.
time travel 5 years in the future, like,
What is this? It's all ash.
yeah.
There's nothing around. Oh, like the Planet of the Apes.
Or you go 5 years in the future, there's a sign, we've all moved to Mars.
Oh, that way, hopefully I will go to Mars with them, right?
Yeah. There's so many intriguing possibilities, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, at least right now, we still have some nature left. Maybe in the
Yeah.
future, it's all gone.
Yeah. That's
So,
true. I think people don't realize, like, if you're in a big city, you think nature's gone, but most of America, nature's still there, right? I mean, even you drive like out east of Seattle, right? You go to
mhm,
I-90, there's nature everywhere, right? Mountains and stuff, you know. It's just when you concentrate these big ass cities, you see, man, there's nature, like, where's nature,
mhm.
right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, hopefully, they stay that way because with how much energy AI consumes,
Hmm.
I don't know. Sea levels, but again, sea levels for all major cities are the target. So it's
Yeah, was it really smart to put like all the cities in the coastlines, right? You know,
it's like, okay, yeah. Well, that would be really
that
sad.
would be an economic disaster, right? If the all the glaciers melt in like in 10 years and the sea
Mhm.
levels rise by 12 inches, like they think, you know, and then
Mhm.
we're like 10 years from now, we might be like, you know,
Rebuild.
yeah, in water, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. There's so many movies on this kind of stuff. So it's like we have a rich imagination.
we do, unfortunately. Hopefully, none of it comes true.
I really hope so because man, the I that's one thing I definitely worry about AI is the energy consumption. Blockchain back then, that was a really big problem. Thank goodness.
What's it called? The blockchain mining, something like that.
Oh yes. The miners.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that even a thing anymore? I
I
remember
hope not.
blockchain was a big thing, you know, and then like,
Use so much energy. It's
mhm,
ridiculous. I mean, I was talking to somebody who was saying, "Oh, like you said, that one country that a lot of workers are miners are in, we're not allowed to mine anymore because it's just like a waste of a humongous
yeah.
amount of energy. So they're trying to ship them to Texas
uh
to use our energy." I was like, you're standing awfully close to that roof edge. If just one small push.
Yeah, blockchain does a lot of energy, yeah. I remember blockchain was a big thing back in the day, you know, like, I remember Coinbase had the Super Bowl commercial,
Mhm.
and then a month later, they laid off half the pop
They give
company,
you
you
a
know?
QR code that you have to scan on your
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, exactly, they did, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, yeah. Like, half the Americans are confused. "What is this right here?"
Yeah.
Half people got it, you know? You don't hear much about blockchain and stuff anymore.
I mean, I still think it's a really interesting technology, and I think you
I think
should be incorporating a lot of
yeah,
things we have.
I think it has some, like, good things to it,
Yeah.
like, you know,
It's
like
not crypto or mining.
yeah.
Way too much energy. I mean, they have new ways to do it.
Mhm.
Kind of defeats the purpose of only, open and decentralized. So it's a mess. So I really hope that that technology
Mhm.
survives through all this and then can be used in much better ways in the future.
Yeah. So are you pretty have much a positive attitude about AI, what it can do for us?
I mean, hopefully anything that's automated will be like I'm really looking forward to how AI replaces all this jobs. It's kind of terrible, right? You're talking about cleaning, thinking about flipping burgers.
Mhm.
It's not very nice.
No.
Got all greasy hair and all hot.
Yeah.
You're breathing in all the smoke. Like,
So do you think AI can make it where we're a world of, like, poets and artists and musicians and, like, making, like, higher thinking stuff instead
like
of
generative AIs.
yeah,
I mean, modern art.
or art in out of the holder, right?
Yes. So modern art. Yeah. I believe AI can create something as good as those people create. So people have to create better stuff. Maybe competition will make art better, but I can see it's a problem for people who are getting their jobs taken away by AI. It's too fast and it's too annoying. It's like the whole society told you you can do this and we'll give you a living, and then the society takes it away from you.
Can you imagine, like, I'm making this up, you know, you're working for a plumbing company, right? You've been a
Mhm.
plumber this plumbing company like 25 years. And the boss says, "Hey, Joe, come in. I gotta talk to you.
Mhm.
Hey, we have to lay you off. This this robot's gonna take your place." I can imagine the fucking like the death no you'll get as a man or a woman, right? Like how just fuck your ego up, right?
But even to think about it, like it could also happen with some different person. Hey, John here isn't take care of your job now.
Yeah.
Also lose it to other people.
But a robot, have you said the word like or AI or some, you
Hmm.
know, random thing, you know?
Robots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, robot can really mess it up, right? Those Zumbas. You have pets. I've heard horror stories.
Yeah.
That they're very evenly spread
Mhm.
certain things around your whole
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
So I don't think AIs are smart enough to totally replace humans because you just it's kind of a cognitive complexity that you
Yeah.
just simply don't have. Um, so I think AI assisted human
Okay.
jobs are the best so far, right? So say this person whose job is getting taken away, but can it really be taken away?
Yeah.
Maybe this person should be the one who trains or teaches how to make it better, make this machine better. Then you just take on different how to say you make it better for you.
Yeah.
You can make the technology better, right? How do those AIs really become really taking over truckers' jobs? Truckers maybe should be in the car
Yeah.
and then teach, make sure that AI functions properly, but then maybe they can just like hands off and take a nap for a
Yeah.
little bit. So I don't think we should really eliminate humans
Okay.
because AI can be terrible, stupid. You call phones like, "Oh, I wanna get this. Sorry, we cannot connect." It's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
They cannot totally replace humans,
Okay.
but I can see they assist humans.
How about this? You were watching the Star Wars movies?
Yes.
And the Star Wars had, like, like, have, like, the robots and all the medical stuff or, like,
Mhm,
healthcare, whatever.
mhm.
What if, like, you're a senior citizen in a nursing home, and on Monday, it's like, Mary Allen's your nurse, human nurse. Next day, it's like, AI robot, you're
Mhm.
like, "What the fuck's going on here?"
But if you think about it, every morning when I wake up, I don't talk to my friend. I talk to my phone, look on my phone, I
Yeah.
turn on some machines in my house, a lot of people out there, coffee machines, teas, whatever. We already live in that kind of
We
world,
do.
but
Yeah,
we
we do.
touch machines more than
Yeah.
humans. So,
Like, how many of us have, like, we don't like a one-on-one human interaction,
mhm.
seeing face to face, right?
This is very rare.
Yeah. It's
Most of the
always like
podcasts, yeah,
FaceTime
yeah,
or,
talk to this.
it's like it's through a tech balance, tech, enabled whatever app, Yeah.
Exactly. So technology, yes, it brought us easier to communicate, but then we also are no longer together anymore, right? Humans back then, that's why you look at those TV shows. It's always a group of friends who constantly hang out. It's like super popular because we no longer have that.
So, is that a good thing or bad thing? Not being able to talk in person? I think it's a bad thing. But then
I think
again
it's bad.
like, I'm an introvert, right? So, like, I hate small talk, So, maybe I do wanna talk on FaceTime, just I don't know.
I mean, I think humans, we are social animals. So we're not lions, or even lions are social animals.
Mm.
Tigers, maybe. Those are, roaming around on their own. But for us, like we're always in groups. And then not seeing the other person, it's just not the same, right? Because you say, oh, you watch some YouTube video. You cannot really be there to ask questions or
Mhm.
check on other people. Hey, there's like a little smile at this thing,
Yeah,
point at that. Like so much information loss. It's
yeah.
just not even close.
So you'll laugh at this, right? So I'm a INFJ, like, only 1% of this in the world supposedly. I'm an introvert, right?
Hmm.
But, like, during COVID, even now, like, man, I gotta talk to somebody, my wife and kids, like, this is,
Yes.
like, this is fucking ridiculous, right? It's like a month on
Exactly.
lockdown. I don't care if it's a drug addict, a homeless person, a random cop, someone. I need to talk to someone else, right?
Yes.
I'm driving batshit crazy.
I think a lot of people realize that during the pandemic. It's
Yeah.
like we're social animals. We're
Yeah.
not as isolated,
And
independent
this
as we
Zoom stuff
thought.
is fine, but man, it's not the same.
It's not totally not the same because you don't feel it. It's not.
Mhm. Like, right now, we can feel each other's energy, all that kind of stuff, like
Mhm.
golf cues and stuff.
Yeah, and all this information you're losing, right? Like I can see or head movement or
Yeah.
something, like
Yeah.
you're looking that way or oh yeah, there's a wind. So you don't have that kind of stuff anymore.
No, so I guess that is the one bad thing about tech.
Hmm. It's see, I never thought like tech itself could be that evil or bad or anything. It's how people react to them
Mhm.
that could be negative. Like, oh, I can talk to my friend on the phone, so we no longer hang out in person. That's bad.
And what's crazy, I wonder how many off this conversation has been had. Like, I bet this conversation was had when the telephone first came out,
Mhm.
or newspapers first came out, right?
Mhm.
Any kind of new communication, right, first came out, or even like way back in the day when someone invented a spear, like
Doves, trained doves.
yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, all this tech. To me, everything's tech. To me, even whoever invented fire, that's a part of tech, right?
Mhm.
And how that changed our lives, right?
Yeah, that's true. The first ape that used a stick to get the ants,
Hmm.
something like that. But I mean, I think we should try to keep a balance.
Yeah.
Like, we wanna use tech as much as possible, right? I can talk to people from a different nation or all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff is really great, but you shouldn't just limit your decrease
Yeah.
your interactions with real people.
No.
That you were
I
just
mean,
really
tech
unhappy.
can be good. Like when I was in Vietnam, I learned in Vietnam. Of course, everyone knows how to use Google Translate, right?
Mhm.
I learned this. You can take your phone, put Google Translate, and put it on like a picture,
Yes.
and it'll translate the picture.
It's fantastic.
It blew my fucking mind away. Like, what the fuck? Cause like we were there for 10 days, first 4 days, like we were trying to figure out what to order and stuff, you know?
Mhm.
Cause like my friend Kevin, he's from Laos, his wife Mina's from Vietnam, but she
Mhm.
was like doing something else with me, Kevin ourselves, we're trying to figure out how to order food right. And by accident, he figured out how like, oh shit, this translate would do a picture, like a totally different
I
experience.
know, technology is really amazing. And then also text messages. I can text whoever I want because
Yeah,
the iMessage, you can
yeah,
translate the information,
yeah.
immediately, so I can text whoever I want, it doesn't matter anymore. It's fantastic. I love it.
But unfortunately, some fucked up people take advantage of it, right?
It's always
It's always been like the beginning of time.
I almost thought, like, human society is 49% bad people, 51% good people.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
a little more of good people kept
Yeah,
us going.
yeah,
But, of course, hopefully, there will be more good people, bad people.
yeah. So next, if let's suppose you start your own AI company, right? What would you focus on?
Well, giving my background, probably if I start an AI company, we will start on AI safety and security, which is what I mentioned before. A lot of people were using a lot of, providing data, using products without knowing what's safe. So just to give people that very basic walkthrough, right? AI for dummies, something like that would be really helpful and really can protect people from a lot of things. I was even thinking about the book title would be like, how to protect grandma, right? Like,
I mean, that's a great title. Think about it.
yeah,
Everyone wants to protect grandma.
we're all going to grow old, and how do we, cope with technology? And then all this bad things could happen, and just like basic things. Don't trust this. Don't click that. I think that's really important. And then also make people realize that, their algorithms can go wrong. Things they push for you to watch every day. You watch in the morning, you watch at night. Like those could be skewed, and just to have some basic understanding. I think that would be really helpful.
Is AI really that complicated? Like, is it really like that, like super genius level stuff, or is this like just a regular anyone can learn to code it? Is this like pretty normal?
I think everybody can really start from the beginning of it. The complexity of I don't think is the coding part, is how it makes decisions. So how it comes to conclusions. Because right now, a lot of AI is still black box. So even the most ingenious, smart people who built this have no idea why AI came to this conclusion. So that's the really complex part. But I think anybody, you didn't really like high school, don't want to go to college, go, you can totally learn all the things how to build an AI on your own from all this information out there already existing. But it's not my ideal job per se, because I think coding is so terrible. I hate coding.
Yeah, I often joke around if I go back in time, I'll learn the code and make my startup like move faster, but it's not for me, right?
You
Like,
gotta think about the work you have to do,
it's
like
like,
constantly hours and
and
hours.
then like you have 10 pages of code, and you put a period instead of a comma somewhere, you got to find it,
So frustrating. Gosh, I know. Like,
and then your founder says, "Hey, change this to this." You're thinking to myself, dude, that's 10 hours of fucking work.
yeah, like I think it's one of the harder jobs because people don't think about, like, your back is all broken and it's all pain, or you're in the dark and they work for hours and hours. You have to sleep next to it because when a computer runs codes, you have to wait for
Yeah,
hours.
you have to be in your zone, whatever.
It's terrible.
Here's one for you. I agree with this, right? So a lot of people have this theory, like, if you're a coder, you're like, you're white collar, making all this money, whatever.
Mhm.
But in reality, you're a trade, right? Because, you're doing the same thing over and over again. And to me,
Kinda unpleasant.
you're a blue collar trade because you're doing the same thing over and over. You're coding, you're doing this, you're doing that, right? It's like you're a plumber, electrician, you're basically doing the same thing over again. But because they make so much money,
Mm.
people think they're white collar. But no, you're actually blue
Yeah,
collar.
I don't think so because there are a lot. I mean, if you think about it, very, very beginner makes what, 70K a year?
If you can get a job.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like, there are people who out there who do so-called blue collar jobs that actually make a lot more,
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
right? I mean, truckers make 100, 150K.
Yeah.
don't know, but like that's a lot more than just coding. And also, there are jobs sometimes coders I know just like look at construction workers saying, "That's nice. You get to go outside in the
Yeah.
sun,
All right.
have physical movement,
Yeah.
not just like one small thing, and you do this for like 12 hours."
Yep.
It's like, I mean, of course, there are some difficulty doing all kinds of different jobs.
Yeah.
Like every job sucks in
Yeah.
some way.
Some kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Some kind of way.
but
Some kind of,
sometimes when you're coding, you're just like, man, this is a lot.
and then you're like, you get no feedback really, only feedback you get if your boss, this is wrong, you know,
Yeah, and
you're supposed to deploy this 2 days ago. What's going on? Right.
it's terrible.
I'm paying you $125,000 a year. What do you mean you need sleep?
So I mean, yeah, I think it's really nice because it's a low entry barrier.
Yeah.
So anybody can do it.
Mhm.
And it's not that difficult to pick it up.
No, I mean, anyone from 8 to 80 can learn it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like grandmas can learn
Yeah.
how to do that, no problem.
I actually follow a guy on YouTube. I have no idea how I found him, but like, so like, I think I found out on another YouTube channel about computer coding, right? When I was trying to, maybe do I want to learn this?
Hmm.
And this guy, they wanted to, hey, I'm 75 years old. I started learning Python at 70 because I was bored.
Hmm.
And like, here's all this fucking amazing shit online, right? That he does, right?
Yes.
It's fucking amazing, right? He says he just does for fun, right? He doesn't charge anything for anyone. Like, I retired. I think he retired as like a railroad mechanic, something like that.
Oh
Some
wow.
some
Okay.
random job,
Totally different.
Yeah, totally different. Like, yeah, you're like, hey, like my wife passed away a long time ago. My kids live somewhere else.
Mhm.
I was going batshit crazy. I don't want to hang out with the old home with all these other old ass people. I learned the code. Now, I talk to like young people all the time, right?
Yes,
I thought it was so fucking
exactly.
cool, right?
You have to learn.
This dude fucking 75 years
Yeah,
old.
right. Now I'm retired or I have a midlife crisis. Well, if you want to learn French or Russian, why
Yeah.
don't learn Python
Yeah. Or piano, whatever.
or whatever
Yeah.
language you want to do? And
I just thought it was so cool.
so
But
fun.
like anyone 8 to 80 can learn it.
Yes, exactly.
There's
So
no
like,
like physical limitations.
yeah, that's the thing with technology. Like, you can actually do it. You just start doing it right now.
Mhm.
You want to learn coding, you can learn it tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm a really big believer in that.
Well, not for a job, but
Maybe not. Yeah, man. That's done something, like, it's like, I mean, it's like 5 years ago,
hmm.
there's like, man, there's $20,000 million jobs for developers.
Hmm.
Become a developer. Now it's like, yeah, you got to go work at a fast food restaurant.
Coder, everybody knows it's an option. But I feel like a lot of parts of the US or the world, but a lot of parts of the US, people still have no idea this is an easy option.
Mhm.
They always imagine, oh, it's something like super difficult or something, or they're just unfamiliar with it. But I really want to get those people into coding.
Or imagine, like, like, I said this from the podcast, like, imagine like you're like a 13-year-old kid,
Mhm.
South Seattle, kind
Yeah.
of, disadvantaged economic background, right? To be able to be there with access to all the stuff in Seattle, or like a 30-year-old kid living on a farm with 200 people in the town and like, I don't know, Farmville, Arkansas, right? But no one knows tech, right?
Well, 13-year-old is a little earlier, but we're actually working on we're working on some sort of educational program for people in high school. So
Mhm.
that's probably the age that we're thinking
Okay.
about. So let's say a person living in Seattle, of course, you have a lot more convenience, but you also have a lot more competition.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because of technology, our competition is the world.
A lot of people don't
We're
realize that.
competing with the world.
I
Oh, you can do it for 12 hours an hour. We can hire someone from other countries
Mhm.
for like $3 an hour.
And their work is twice as good as yours.
Yeah. So yes, technology, you have to compete with the world, but we also have a lot of great jobs that with a little bit of coding, basic stuff that people can totally pick up with a high school or, or so degree that I think Americans should take advantage of this. Those are nice 60, 70 starting jobs, and we need people ethical to do it. Because I work with vendors who are, from different countries, so they don't care about the US, which is fine, right? And then they're just trying to almost like scam money from different companies. Like, oh, this person hasn't been here for 2 weeks, but we keep cashing the checks because this company doesn't know. Or like, oh, we don't want to give them a solution. We want to keep them hooked. So they keep paying. Like, this is terrible. We can save so much cost and hassle for a lot of those companies. We just have people with similar values or people at least don't hate you to do the job. So I want to promote coding, or this kind of tech jobs to different parts of the US
Mhm.
because we have all this, you know, great, very nice 16, 17-year-olds or college students who are looking for jobs and they have difficulty and like, come on, do this. I won't really want to connect that.
When should someone start learning to code? Like, if you're like,
Mhm,
you can control all education in the United States.
mhm.
You could say everyone needs to start learning code at what grade or what age?
Well, from what I heard, India starts really early. That's why they have this edge on their labor force. I think we should start earlier. Not some crazy,
Like fifth grade, fourth grade, 10th grade.
4th, 5th grade,
Okay.
they can start getting familiar with how computers work. Just maybe one course or some extra credit.
Yeah.
Like, I think we should get that going because technology is the key to competition, and we're lacking that in our
Because it's
labor
another
force.
language, right? Just like learning French or Spanish, so to speak,
Instead
right?
of learning French or Spanish, learn
What's
Python
going to do
or
you
some
better?
other language.
Learning Ruby on Rails or Python or like French?
I mean, I think learning a different language is helpful for your brain.
Mhm.
Just like, oh, think logic
Yeah.
or think something a different way. But in terms of practical use, like you cannot avoid technology. You cannot avoid computers in
No.
this world. Like,
No.
even though you're living somewhere in the middle of nowhere, you gotta use a tractor or a car or
Yeah.
something, right? Like you gotta use something. So you cannot avoid technology.
I thought about this. So right now I'm raising a fund for my company, right? And of course I'm
Mhm.
researching like all these VCs, right? And I came across this one VC company. One of the companies I invested in, I can't remember the name of the company, but they're using AI to predict like the branch and stuff. Like the AI predicts like how much milk the cow's gonna do,
Mm,
how much money, like like how many cows or calves the cow's gonna make in a lifetime.
mhm.
Like this is like ingenious, right? Like something, you never think about that, right? So the AI is predicting all this branch stuff for these farms, right?
Mhm, yeah, it's not just farm, like, agriculture, all this plants, energy, I mean, weather. That's the original use of those algorithms or AI can cause. So, like, it's just automation. It takes data.
So how advanced do you think AI can get? Do you think AI is gonna eventually get where like it takes over everything, be singularity, and like do you think like it's gonna be where in the future where we evolve where like we put everyone has Elon Musk neural link playing in our brain and some big AI computer controls us, whatever,
I mean, I think it depends on what do you call by controlling.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because right now, if you think about it,
They influencers.
I mean, yeah, exactly, right? Like, our world is already like, am I being controlled by MacBook Pro? Am I being controlled by iPhones or Androids or whatever, Like, this thing, so much, like, hours and hours on this thing. It's like everywhere I go, first thing I touch, oh, is my phone here,
Yeah.
right? Like, am I being controlled by it?
And some people say yes.
Okay, then they already done that.
Yeah.
But what I am, of course, my phone doesn't really. Sometimes it does tell me what to do. It tells you turn left,
Yeah.
make a right.
Yeah.
Whether it's today, like,
Reminds you of stuff.
yeah, and it reminds you, you need to do this right now. Oh, okay. Thank you, phone.
Your health monitor,
Yeah,
your heart
exactly.
rate is up.
Oh, no. And now it taps me. Not just bugs me, it has, rings and actually taps me on my hand. It's like,
Remember back in the day, it were like, you've been sitting for too long, stand up.
yes, I see
Dude,
it.
dude, I'm driving right
I
now.
know. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
But like, they're already controlling our
Yeah.
lives, and which the thing is, we just want them to do better.
Do better, yeah. Here's one for you. So, do you think we should have an AI president?
It's better than a human president
Yeah.
because if you think about the role of the
Mm,
president, more like, I mean, yeah, they make some decisions,
mm,
but it's really the people behind them that's
yeah.
really doing the job. The
Mhm.
president is more like, I'm the image that you
Yeah.
can, center on a person, a figure. If you have AI, they don't have any
No.
criminal backgrounds. They're not gonna,
Hopefully not.
hopefully not.
Fucking AI criminal.
Yeah, so but again, I understand humans, psychologically, we want another person to follow, to feel the connection.
Yeah.
So I actually feel like a lot of jobs will become more valuable as AI takes over a lot more jobs because people then crave this human connection. So
So I could be wrong, but I think, well, isn't like US and China like 1-2-2-1 like AI stuff, right? As far as like AI competition and
China is a lot better than us in terms of
but
AI.
but it's us in China, right?
In terms of like who are the leading
Yeah.
countries. There's some. good stuff in Europe, but yeah,
So,
if just single nation wise.
the question was, who's like third? Like, what's a country out there who's like really do some AI stuff that no one really knows about? Maybe not like, they're good as the U.S. and China, but like they're doing some stuff that's pretty like breathtaking.
That I have to look it up.
Okay,
I don't have that on.
so U.S. and China are like the two big players, so to
I
speak.
mean, they're the bigger countries
Yeah,
too.
so I'm guessing you don't really find a lot of AI innovation like El Salvador or like Uganda or
Oh, I mean, there's some. We actually, I mean, at least from what I know, Microsoft hires a lot of Latin American or South American
yeah,
tech workers.
yeah,
So I would imagine that means that they
okay,
have pretty good technology there, and of course, India, right? They have
yeah.
great coders. So, and they just launched their. I think they just launched their rocket with really, really small cost.
Mhm.
So that's impressive.
It is. It is. So back to marketing. I'm guessing every company needs a marketing strategy, but how do you determine a marketing strategy, right? Something should a CEO founder or no say, hey, marketing guy, you're the expert. Whatever you say with marketing, you do it on your own, or should it be like a collaborative effort between marketing, sales, tech, whatever.
From what I think is that if you have a startup, and especially if the founders are more technical, they should hire a professional, a little bit more experienced marketing person to look into their data, conduct some research, and then they should be making more decisions than what I would like to, what I'm seeing right now. So a lot of people, they make a product, they think that I want to sell it this and this way, especially the founders. It's like they need to take a step back and then let other professionals to do their job and then to help you position your product, tell you what kind of features or what kind of changes you should have your product because that's what people want. Like I don't want to do that change, but it's like that's what people want. You need to give them that or they're not going to pay. So
So right now you're on, I guess, call it academic track, right? As far as your profession,
yeah.
and you plan on doing that for a few years.
Well, I don't think I will ever really give it up because it's really fun to get to do research.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm also, I have my own LLC on the side. I don't want to disconnect industry versus my academic because also my experience in the industry helped with my research,
Yeah,
right? You don't want to study something no one cares about,
yeah.
like the Ghostbusters in the basement. Oh, you're really here? I don't want to be like that.
So what would have to happen for someone to convince you to quit academia and work for their startup full time?
I don't think anybody can.
Don't think so.
Yeah.
It can be like
I'd
some.
have 6 years to think about this.
It can be some advanced AI product that improves marketing, or like some kind of space travel thing, or like maybe something like, hey,
Send me to Mars.
I have an AI startup where like you click a button, you push marketing button to their brain some kind of way, convince them to
Mhm.
buy stuff.
Yeah, well, the thing is with academia, with research, I have the freedom, which is very rare, to do what I want to study. I if I want to do, study a button like
Yeah.
marketing, I can do that for my research. So it's the freedom that I'm not giving
Okay.
up. So that's why as a researcher, I can do things, I can find things, I can whatever I find interesting and I think is useful. As far as I can convince my peers
Yeah.
that this is useful, impactful, then I can do it.
Okay.
So for people who really want to be independent and do what I want to do, I think academia is great.
What do you find so fun about research? 'Cause most people are like, man, I go to the library,
Mm-hmm.
study through 10,000 books, and
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. A lot of people think it's boring, right?
Yeah.
But you find excitement with it. What's so exciting about it for you? Just the new knowledge you learn, like you said before, or like the thrill of like, man, finding something else out.
Well, I think for me is the knowing that I am creating knowledge, right? I get to see my finding merged into the human knowledge, the stream or the continuum or whatever what you call it. So that's really fun for me to find something interesting. I find interesting and others find interesting to include that. But also, at parties, there's some people's like, oh, if I do this way, if I drop the ball with my left hand versus right hand, it's gonna turn left. And it's like, well, I'm gonna do it 100 times to see if that's really the truth. This kind of people. I'm that kind
Okay.
of. I really need to find out. If I want to prove a point, I will prove a point.
And you've always been like this since you were a little girl?
It's enhanced by the PhD training.
Okay.
Well, before I'm always, I'm more independent. I know what I want to learn about, what I find interesting, and then yeah, this process really brainwashed you into thinking this way. I have to admit, yeah.
So why the University of Washington for PhD versus all the other college you could have went to?
Well, I made the mistake of not applying wide enough. I was just like, oh, I'm here in Bellevue because I was working for Microsoft at the time. It's like I applied to, here in Oregon or something. So when University of Washington says, hey, come, I was like, all right. And also they're more tech oriented, and I was in tech, so I'm more familiar with this, and so it's easier to have connections with professors who are more familiar with this.
So let's say we're in a parallel universe.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a PhD university researcher professor,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think you would have done?
Well, I already knew what I would have done, right? Because I already worked a little bit before. I would, I was working on Microsoft's AI Cortana. So I guess in an alternative universe, I would just keep working on that, or working in tech on AI
So what's it called? You say AI Cortana?
Cortana.
I never heard of that. What is that?
So Cortana, I don't know if you have used Windows before.
Mhm.
It's discontinued. Well, because I'm not there anymore. But when you log into your computer, there's a blue circle that bugs you. Like, oh, use me. What do you want
Yeah,
me to
yeah,
help you
okay.
with? Yeah,
Okay.
that's there.
Okay. Nice.
And it's based on Halo.
Okay.
Master Chief has this little AI,
Oh,
the little
wow.
blue
You're right.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I don't think people realize, totally off subject, and of course, you don't talk about it, you don't want to because you still work for Microsoft. I don't think people realize how much stuff Microsoft does, right? I mean, they bought LinkedIn, they bought GitHub, back then they bought Nokia, like, it's like
OpenAI.
OpenAI, yeah. People don't realize that. People don't realize that Microsoft owns like 49 or 47% of OpenAI. And that's why I guess Elon Musk is suing them now.
Yes, right? How about that?
Elon Musk, like, hey, this is supposed to be a nonprofit, make the world better. You sold your soul to Microsoft.
Well,
But Microsoft owns so much stuff. They're involved in so much stuff, right?
but that's the same as a lot of companies out
Yeah.
there. That's why the
Microsoft,
joke is like we have in
Amazon,
America we have 5 companies.
exactly.
One of them. So
But T-Mobile and someone else,
yeah,
and Sprint, yeah,
Exxon.
ExxonMobil,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't see how that's good for business. How's that competition, right?
I mean, monopoly win.
Yeah.
Monopoly always win. That's why those companies behave that way.
Mhm.
Constantly getting slowly absorbed, become bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
That's how business. That's why a lot of people say free market will fix everything.
That's your
Necessarily,
limitations, right?
not
Like
necessarily.
Amazon bought Zappos, they bought Twitch. Like who knows? Like Twitch is like, for you don't know, it's a gaming platform where people play
I'm
games, right?
familiar with.
Like people don't realize Amazon actually owns that, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying in the U.S. maybe we have like a dozen companies.
Yeah. Like what's the joke was? It's like,
Yum brand.
yeah.
All this
Like joke is like Amazon Prime, my joke is like it's gonna be Amazon everything pretty soon.
Yeah, that's the see that's why AI is such a big problem, because one AI system controls everybody. Back then you have a king, you have an emperor,
Yeah.
they control one nation.
Yeah.
Something now it's just millions, billions of users.
Yeah.
Controlled by this. And then they're in your pocket, right? You
Yep.
wake up in the morning, your kids watch those things. Like this level of control and this level of concentration. We've never seen this before.
I mean, Amazon Alexa is constantly buffering to listen to what you said.
I think there was a case. So it's like, can you really trust them?
You can't.
Not
But
really.
then how you gonna live life now, right? We're so used to like,
I know.
hey Alexa, how much blah 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 should I put in this recipe or blah blah blah, or Alexa, remind me to do this.
Yeah, I know. I'm living in the caveman style of not having one of those. And also my house,
But how
the
do you order stuff?
thermometer is also not smart.
How do you order stuff from Amazon without Alexa?
Yeah, I know. I do the old-fashioned way of ordering on my desktop.
Living so primitively, living like a primitive person.
I know. I feel
Back
so
back in the
yeah.
you're a 1990s person.
I know. I'm like holding a torch and like my way.
Yeah. So someone when someone gets a PhD, is like, do you have to like do certain kind of classes once every 5 years, 4 years to keep PhD, or once you have a PhD, like you just keep it no matter what? Like, is there any way for someone to lose your PhD?
I don't think you can lose your PhD. I
Once you have
think
PhD, you always have, no matter what.
how much you have to work for
Yeah.
it.
So no matter what you might say or what do, or like suppose like someone has a PhD and they go like, murder 10 people, or they like say something really racist, or like,
Same as a bachelor's degree or
okay,
a master's
once you have,
degree,
you have
right?
it.
Once you're an MBA, no matter
Okay.
how evil of a CEO you become, you're
Okay.
an
You have it.
MBA.
Okay. All right. But I'm guessing the difference is like if you're an evil person, that college that gave you the degree might want kind of distance themselves from you. you know, like, no, Jason Cavness did not graduate from this university.
Yeah,
We just own
we
him.
eliminated his name.
We just own him. We took off all records from him.
Yeah, and from comic books, you can imagine a lot of bad people actually have PhDs.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Or is the other way around? Maybe
Yeah.
PhD drive you mad.
Oh man.
They're all doctor something,
Yeah.
professor
Dr.
something,
Doom.
all those. Yeah,
Hmm.
I can see that. Because after this whole process, I can see that.
Yeah. Man. So during the PhD process, is there a time in there where like I guess there's a time you want to quit, right? Like, or that you think about or whatever. Like, man, what am I doing? Like, was it like your own personal like perseverance that your parents said, "Hey, keep on going"? Was your advisor, "Hey, Evie,
Mhm.
something's wrong with you, right? Come talk to me." Like Evie, like there's something wrong. You're not, your upbeat self, right? Or is it a matter of just like in the army, you had to say like, suck it up, right? Just had to suck it up and keep on going.
Well, for me, I think other people probably when we discuss it all the time with like different PhD students. Oh, should you continue? Should you do something else? Or how much pain's really causing you? But for me, I never thought about quitting, but it's very difficult.
This isn't how you're built, right?
Yeah, it's just like maybe I'm a little tunnel vision, but like I just want to get. I want this. I know I want this. I really like it, and it was really difficult in the first couple of years. But it's just constantly you're facing criticism after criticism because that's what academia is supposed to be, right? People tell you, "Oh, this is not right. You're not supposed to do this." And
So
my
you got to have some kind of mental strength, right?
yeah,
Mental
exactly.
strength, a thick skin, emotionally
Yeah,
strong.
yeah, definitely. You cannot because a lot of people imagine, oh, we're all top A students or whatever. Like we're straight A. No, we can't accept. But then that really gets beat out of you during this whole PhD program. You can no longer have that kind of like ego or pride or something. You have to just be like, this is what I want to do.
Mhm.
And my advisor probably, I would say, yeah, definitely the reason I'm still alive. I was a joke is because of him.
Yeah.
So a good advisor will give you support
Uh-huh.
and help you through things. And if you don't
So
have that, it's very difficult.
I wonder if some advisors take the mentality of, like, I need to help my students graduate. Or do some advisors take the thing like, I need to make sure my students are strong as possible. So I'm gonna fuck with them as much as possible and make them quit. Because if they quit, they're not mentally strong enough and they
Oh
don't
my
deserve a PhD, you know?
I'm not sure. So I think maybe other people have that kind of mentality. It's like, oh, we gotta make it strict.
Yeah.
The UW program is actually our program is famous for being very tough. Like
Mm.
people joke about being the UW meat grinder.
Yeah.
So
So UW does have a very, very good,
it's
I mean,
high
they have,
standards.
supposed to have the best computer science, the best centered design program, one of the best business programs.
Mhm.
UW has like a outstanding like reputation.
Yes, exactly. And then that comes hand in hand with making this process a lot more, difficult and like very tough. But if your advisor has that mentality, I don't think you can
Can't
survive.
survive. Yeah.
No, your advisor is kind of like your
Okay.
parent.
Your advisor
Like,
needs to be
yeah,
on your team.
without your
Your
advisor,
advisor
you're
needs to
dead.
be okay. Your advisor, okay, okay, all right. So this might be an unfair question, but like, let me ask this: during you said that some people quit during your time there, right?
Most
When someone quit, do you think to yourself, man, like that could have been me, or like, man, this person quit. That's a weak. That person was weak. That person had what it takes. I'm glad they're gone. Less competition for me.
no. I think this process is harsh enough that we all know how painful it is,
Yeah,
and we don't feel that about others. You more feel like kind of like, oh, that's so bad. Like
yeah.
your friend has left,
Yeah.
right? Like
Can someone quit and then come back? Like post, I mean, I'm sure people may quit for personal reasons, or maybe they ran out of money, or death in their family, or
mhm.
I mean, life happens, right? Can you?
Sometimes maybe because you're if you know you're coming back, it's like, oh, I really have to leave for
Mhm.
this. I don't know if that's doable.
Okay. I guess they might have
I've
to start from the beginning.
I've never seen people who've done that for myself,
So
so I've never witnessed it.
okay.
So
So once you quit, it's pretty much like red line you cross.
I think once you quit, also it's really difficult for a person to quit and come back. 'Cause then you have a life. Why would you want to live this life again?
Yeah. Like I have freedom now.
Yeah, I know. So, oh, I have freedom, like a mental health,
I
or
can go out, I go out, eat with my spouse every day.
or like, I'm not feeling I'm so terrible and then the stupidest person in the world every day, like,
Yeah.
something like that.
Man, I actually enjoy binge watching Game of Thrones
Yeah, it's like, I
versus doing research.
in the room. Yeah.
That's funny. Is there how many, you happen to know how many, what percentage of population in either the United States or the world or whatever is actually has PhD?
I think
I think
some
that's just
people
small.
try to, calculate it. I think with like reputable schools, maybe less than 1%.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to think about it. PhD, they also included, art history, English literature. I'm kidding.
No, no, she's not.
Yeah, so maybe 1%.
Or what's a joke? Or you're like, playing. We need a doctor. I have a PhD in artist. No, no, no. Sit your ass down.
Art history. Sit down.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Man,
no, sorry. I was just
no,
making fun of them.
no. It's funny, right? What's it called? The not technical, word, not technical, like the hard things versus easy things. Like
Mhm,
there's a term for it. Like you have a PhD in physics, or even a degree in physics if it's a degree in art history. Like
mhm.
liberal arts and like real science. It's something they call it. I can't remember.
Oh,
But
Sheldon Cooper in Big
ye-
Bang Theory.
yes,
Geology is not a real
yeah,
science. Which, I mean, I think geology is, but he's like, some of liberal art.
yeah. You're an engineer. There's no way you're smarter than me.
Yeah.
Well, you're an engineer. You're fucking like no way you're smarter than me. Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah. There are a lot of jokes. And then also econ people make fun of us. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, you're just taking our econ theories and use it for evil. Like,
Yeah. How
that's
much?
just wrong. Yeah.
How much? So, how much do we think we fail our kids by not like counseling more to get a good degree, right? Of course, like you want, if you're a high school senior and you want to be an artist, right? Okay,
Mhm.
be an artist, right? But I think we do a bad job of saying, hey, I know you want to be an artist, you're a really good artist, but like, man, like if you can't sell your paintings for millions of dollars, the odds of you getting a job as an artist are like slim to none, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
or
It's very, I
like
think the rate of
yeah.
success.
And like I'm a big fan of like liberal arts degrees. I think liberal arts degree is actually a good thing, right? You learn all that
Oh,
stuff.
you definitely need those knowledge.
Yeah.
I took those classes too.
But if you're trying to get a job as like, marketing person and you compete like marketing people, you probably lose that every time unless you can do a good job convincing yourself, right? I just think there's so many degrees out there where like people spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars and like they have a
Yeah.
degree in like, all degrees are valuable, don't be wrong. You learn stuff, right? But you have a degree in like, I don't know, language arts of like
It's harder. It's
Civil War
harder to
era,
get jobs.
yeah, versus a basic business degree.
I mean, I do think that I think everybody should take liberal art classes
Mhm.
because you definitely need the knowledge,
Yeah.
that the view, right? History, like you need to
Yeah.
know those things. But to get a degree in those, I mean, yes, it's harder to get jobs a lot of times
Mm.
than other degrees. But then again, like skills is not the only reason you get
Yeah.
education, right?
Yeah.
It's like a
Now,
balance. You want to balance how much
yeah.
fun you want to have, how
Yeah.
much knowledge you want to,
Exactly.
have, and then do you want to? Do you want to go to grad school later on? Do you want to get a PhD later on, or do you want to, have a job immediately? So those are all considerations.
Now, if you take your daddy's job coming over in 6 years, maybe you do get a liberal arts degree, right?
I mean, but the thing is, if you love it so much,
Yeah.
and then that's the only a contractor
Mhm.
build houses, right? How do you know that's what you really want to do in high school? That's a very early on to
Yep.
pick up a profession that you probably don't know what's, there could be other options out there.
Yeah.
And university is where you find out this kind of options because it has
Yeah.
all the things possible. You get to talk to anybody you want, and then and then you find out what you really like and what you're really good at.
Here's one for you. Like a lot of people, they know really early on what they want to do, right? Some people don't.
Hmm.
So Kobe Bryant, right? He knew this is 8 years old, but basketball player, right?
Hmm.
Is that because that's what he really wanted, or because his daddy was an NBA player, right?
I mean, you have to think about it. As a person, you only have this much information at any given stage, right? Like your I mean, sure, if your father or your parents do a certain job and you're more familiar with it, so you have an edge compared to other people. So what's wrong with taking on this
Yeah.
advantage? So it's like, I mean, as far as people know that they have the option, I think the worst part is that you didn't know you could have done it easily. That's the sad part. Like, oh, I didn't know if I just, go
But
to a different classroom, I can be a
I mean,
marketer.
Kobe Bryant could have been the greatest scientist of all time.
Yeah, exactly. It was like but if you know what you have, if you know all your options, then that's great. What I'm afraid is that you don't know you have the option. You could easily become someone else, or you could easily found your passion, but because of some stupid reason you didn't. That's what I'm worried about. But as far as you know your options, go for it.
I mean, it's like, Michael Jackson, one of
Mhm.
the greatest entertainers of all time, greatest dancers of all time, greatest singers
Mhm.
of all time. His father made him start doing entertainment at the age of 5, right? He had no other choice. He had no other life option, right? He had to be an entertainer, right?
I mean, yeah, for a lot of people who push their children toward one way or the other, it's really eliminating the child's option. But again, a game theorist, you look at things both ways,
Uh-huh.
right? You have to say, but on the other hand, they were also given a direction, and
Uh-huh.
then they are way more efficient in terms of reaching this goal.
Mhm.
Where for me, like I tried all kinds of different things, the waste of my time, right?
But
I
was
work.
that Michael Jackson's goal or Joe Jackson's goal? I
Well,
would
it
say
depends
it's
on if you want to be successful.
yeah.
If he saw maybe his son is really great and extremely
Maybe you
talented,
saw something at an early age, like maybe at 3 years old, he like sung a note or did a move,
I just
whatever.
knew, I know, I just knew this kid is talented. Then
But
you don't want to waste that.
but how many parents do waste that? It's like they see their kid throw a baseball.
Hmm.
My son is God given baseball talent.
Hmm.
Well, actually he doesn't, right? Like he's kind of average. You're gonna spend all this time make your son do baseball games and travel with teams and
Hmm. I mean, yeah, people are could be, blinded or overestimate.
yeah, too many parents
Yeah.
live through the lives of their kids, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's very difficult for children to figure out. Like, I had no idea I wanted to be a professor.
No, that's a good question I should ask. Like, so we're gonna pretend you didn't say that, right?
Yeah.
So, most people when they're young, like a little kid, right? They want to be a superhero,
Hmm.
maybe a fireman, whatever case may be, music stars.
What's yours?
Most people don't want to be a professor.
What's yours
I
as
want
a
to be
kid?
I want to be president of the United States. I was really big in politics.
Actually, that's actually more realistic.
I was really big into politics. I read all, I knew all the history of presidents. I knew about
Hmm.
wars. I knew all that stuff. Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I mean, I would to think somebody wanted to be a professor as a kid,
I mean, it's not
right?
common though, right? I
How
mean,
about scientists?
scientists, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Scientists, yes. Yeah.
That's similar.
Scientists, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, scientists is just, how do you become a scientist? You're a professor. You're a research
You
professor.
gotta be curious.
No, that's how a scientist, like, you get hired at those kind of institutions and you do research and then teach a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little- But it's really, actually, I don't know if I should say this, but a lot of times, if you don't do enough research, you have to teach more. So it's like, in a way, it's
See, I
punishment.
don't know. See me, I mean, I guess I'm different. If I was,
Mhm.
I'd be a chief professor. Me, I think I'd be like adding more value,
Mhm.
teaching kids and technical
Really?
lives. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so a lot of the professors actually research is their number 1.
Mhm.
Teaching is not as much because you're hired as a research professor.
So,
So if we're thinking about tenure track professors, actually teaching is not their main job.
okay.
Conducting
So,
scientific research
so when
is
we
their
10, you
main
got
job.
to do research.
Yeah.
I
So
always thought you had to teach.
you do have to teach,
Okay.
but that's not the main part.
Okay. So like you focus on research, you come teach kids like, fuck them kids.
But, when the kids wanna be scientists, how do you become scientists? Like, we go
Yeah.
to universities, but yeah, sure, technically we're STEM.
Okay.
So you go to universities and you kind of research and you teach a little bit
Yeah.
on the side as the requirement
Yeah.
to share your knowledge and then, to
Yeah.
not be the creepy guy in the basement.
Yeah.
Superhero.
I guess I would make a terrible person hiring a professor. My thing, if I was hiring a professor, I'd be more impressed by people who said, hey, I'm gonna teach kids, I'm gonna do this for kids versus someone saying, hey, I'm gonna do this 100 hours of research and prove this theory, right? I'd be more impressed, like how you can take these kids, how you gonna take these 80 kids and improve their lives and add value to them? We would
Oh,
like to take.
okay. I mean, they have like instructors, lecturers, right? Teaching professors. Those jobs are more focusing on teaching. but the research side, like, where do you go research?
Yeah.
Universities,
Yeah.
right? That's who they. That's where scientists are. A lot of.
So in order to do research, someone has to give you a grant, right? You have to get funding to do the research, right?
Luckily, not for business.
You don't? Okay.
That's why it's super lucky.
Okay.
But other, I think most of those places you have to get funding, you have to apply for grants.
Okay. So this totally out know your field, right? But I suppose you have to get funding, right?
Mm-hmm.
How put this? Like, how much lead, like, suppose you're trying to get funding from a corporation, right? How much influence they have on your research, right? They say, hey, Jason, you do research on this area. I'm giving you $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you have to find this finding, comma. If you don't, the
Mm-hmm.
research ain't the money ends next year. I think that's a
I
lot.
think that's
Or I'm being cynical right now.
it's not very reasonable
Okay.
because of the whole point of science that you don't know what you find. That's why you do the research.
Well, that's the point of me giving you $5 million. I want you to find what I want you to
I
find.
mean, that's why a lot of scientists work in universities
Mhm.
who's not constrained on, certain make a short profit, right? 'Cause
But
a lot of fundings don't come from private sector. It's
okay.
all from like I think National Science Foundation
Okay.
or things like that. That's
So it's not like
yeah,
Microsoft is
no,
giving us
it's
some.
not.
They're not like
I mean, they
Microsoft.
have that, right? They
It's,
have that, but it's not. That's more industry.
so they're like
Yeah.
Boeing gives you $10 million to find that
Things that help them.
this aircraft is like a better thing to do than this.
I mean, I think, yeah, I think a lot of people like you, and then you lose your scientific integrity, and your research isn't.
And to me, I would think if you're a scientist and you lose integrity, you're done, right?
Yeah, then it's not much.
You might as well go
Yeah,
start.
no, who's gonna trust you?
Yeah, you
Right?
might as well go to Wendy's, start flipping burgers, right?
Who hires you next? Like, we don't even trust your all the things you produce. And
Yeah,
who's
I have
gonna
to
hire
imagine
you?
integrity has to be like the number one thing for a scientist. It's like,
Yeah, because you lose it, then there's no value. No one can trust whatever you have anymore. So then, what's the point?
so I was talking about earlier, like, difference between Harvard University versus North Dakota Institute of State.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a difference between, like, let's say, like, getting a PhD at a reputable college in like the United States versus like college in, like, a third world country? Or do this?
I mean,
This is my from my ignorance. So
yeah.
do third world countries even have PhD level colleges, or is it all based like in the big countries?
I think it's definitely fewer because the United
Okay.
States has the highest number of universities or PhD granting
Because so
institutes.
many other citizens, other countries come here, right, for
Yeah, they
PhDs,
all
right?
come here. And then
Like,
also PhD is, at least for marketing, is funded.
mhm.
So people can apply. Like, people get accepted from all over the world.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, I know hundreds of people coming to the United States for college,
Mm-hmm.
like bachelor's, master's, PhDs. I've never heard of one person going, like, like, I don't know, England or Russia or China to get a PhD or a college degree.
Or you get a PhD from those countries.
Yeah.
I mean, they have
I'm sure.
they have
I'm sure it
universities.
happens,
Yeah.
but
Just in terms of sheer number, and also we are in the U.S.
yeah,
Of course, the people we hear more,
yes,
they
true.
stay here, right?
Yeah,
Like, because people got a
yeah,
PhD from Russia,
yeah,
probably stayed in Russia, so we don't meet them.
yeah, yeah. I know University of Washington has a lot of Asian influence, right? A lot of international Asian students.
I think because of the location, is
Easy
one's
flight.
direct flight.
Yeah, easy flight.
So I think at least in our cohort or our program, we have quite a few people from China,
Yeah,
Korea. And we also have people from India,
yeah.
Iran.
Mhm.
So, and also a lot of times, if the country is in distress, there is a brain drain,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
they come in.
yeah. And we
So
take advantage of it.
I mean, well, yeah, and also, why not? People want to come here. It's all voluntary, right? They have
Yeah,
And also, that's why there's a joke. It's like if you look at people PhD and then where they're from, usually that's the year that country is in trouble.
yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Because then they're it's the smart people leaving.
Mhm.
That's not
That's why they're
the
smart, right? They see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, oh, that's a good point. They get to see, oh, there's some trouble, so I'm leaving.
If I stay, I might be locked up, a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I know. That's because you never know what's gonna happen with the whole nation that's in
I
distress,
mean, like
right?
way back in the day, World War II, all the smart German scientists left Germany and came here, right?
Yeah, exactly. All those great Jewish scientists
Yeah.
who left and
I
say,
mean,
yes.
they built the nuclear bomb for us instead of for Hitler, right?
I mean, that's true. So you get to see, like, whenever you have this surge of PhD people
Mhm.
from certain areas,
Yeah.
like usually that means that area was in trouble. So kind of like a joke.
Yeah,
So.
it is. It is. Yeah. Um, how do you find someone being smart? Is there, like, of course, there's different levels of smart, but
Mhm,
like, how do you find like, of course, what's the thing where like, if you're like frog, you can't climb. No, that's the best thing. Like if you're a fish, you can't climb a tree. You know,
mhm,
if you're this, you can't do that. Right. There's a different level of smart, right? But how do you find
mhm.
someone who's smart? Right? Is this like IQ, brain level, street
Ah,
smarts?
I think usually people look at people who are smart is they make the best decisions,
Mhm.
giving the information they
And
know.
that is so rare, right? That is so rare. People make the best decisions for everyone.
I mean, but that's why you have to look at the information they knew back then. You can't say like, "Oh, this guy happened to win a lottery. He's the smartest person ever." You know. So you look at the person, say, "Okay, this person make the right decision." So usually we say, "Oh, that's a smart person."
Mhm.
And the intelligent person, we have all these tests to test people, like how much you can memorize a book chapter, or how much you can do the math, or many, many ways to do it. And you also have wisdom. Somebody's wise. There's so many different ways to judge.
Yeah. What's the thing too? Like gets me like, a lot of people like older people have wise. Are they really? Those are not
What?
dumb old people.
Do you
Yeah.
feel but are you better than the 20-year-old yourself?
Sometimes I think no, be honest with you.
That's true, because 20 you still remember all this physics formulas.
Yeah. That's a good question, right?
Right? Are you wiser? Do you feel wiser?
I don't, be honest with you, right? I'm like, I think one thing when you get older,
Mhm.
like when you're young, like I know everything. You get older,
Mhm.
you're like, I don't know shit.
You realize you don't know
You realize
how much you
you
don't
realize
know.
don't anything. Like there's so many things you don't know, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
like you said, how's the toilet work? How's the car work? Like how like how's this light here? Like electricity, how's it coming from wherever, right? Like
Mhm.
you don't know anything, right?
But you realize you don't know them, so that's wisdom.
Yeah, maybe so. Or is it finally acknowledging your ignorance of everything in life?
Yeah, I think that acknowledgement is wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. Make
Mhm.
myself feel good.
I'll go with it. Yep.
Yeah, and there's like, there's so many like there's like all these words, like there's world of game theory, world of physics, world of AI, world of like bourbon, you know,
Mhm.
the world of making this bottle here, there's all these different worlds and like you might be smart in the world of, making bottled water, right?
So you can be very stupid in something else,
Yeah.
which me, I represent all the PhD students. We all realize that, my gosh, when you spend this much time on one thing, you become really dumb at other stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the key is how do you realize what you're smart at, what you're dumb at, right? Cause like if you're dumb at
Mhm.
something, like why waste time working something you're dumb at? But
Mhm.
but most people don't have the opportunity, right?
But
Like most people don't find their passion in life, unfortunately.
I guess. But I mean, try, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, try. Here's one for you. So like let's suppose someone graduates from high school, right?
Mhm.
Should they, and of course, this is my advice, and people disagree with this. Let's suppose that you're like economic well off, right? You can afford this. Is it better to go to college right away, or is it better to take a what they call a gap year and go experience stuff? Like maybe backpack across Europe, maybe like get a bullshit job, maybe do something different, or should like go straight to college?
I mean, I feel like you can backpack in summer.
Spoken like a true professor.
Just saying, right? And also, a lot of schools have like, study abroad in the summer.
Mhm.
So you have a little bit more constructed
Yeah.
way of
Okay.
exploring other countries, which is really fun. But I actually think that university, big part of a university is for you to explore
Mhm.
what you want to do, what's
Yeah.
really fun by taking all different classes, meeting all these different people,
Yeah.
all your peers from all over the world. Like that is
Yeah.
exploration.
Yeah. You're right.
So the
Yeah.
whole I'm gonna backpack to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Like you can get some information. This is like a one country or one place you met, or as a backpacker. So could be limited. Where
Yeah.
university is more constructed, more holistic. You can actually find out different ways. But if you have the money to travel and have fun, I mean, sure, go for it.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun. But I mean, I don't think that's very necessary.
Okay. And speaking of meeting people, I just thought about this. I had a friend, right? He graduated from University of Washington, I think in 97, 98. And he said like he was there for 2 or 3 years. Like, of course, I mean 4 years, right? And he had a friend who was a Japanese guy, right, from Japan,
Mhm.
right? Had no idea who it was till they graduated. he was like the fucking like the grandson of the emperor of Japan. Like he was like some like some really high ranking
Yeah.
kid, like experience. Like what? He's like, dude, like you never told me, right? Like I don't want. I just want to be a regular person. I came here for you're like we used to drink beer together, hang out, whatever. Like you're like this. You like you're the dude, right?
That's fun.
And I
Yeah,
had no idea.
exactly. See,
He,
in
he,
universities, all this kind of different
he screwed
people
up just a
come
little bit.
together. Yeah. So all those people come together
Yeah.
and you have no idea and they could be
He,
your roommate.
yeah. He told my friend, I didn't want anything different about me. Treat you differently. Like, yeah, I would definitely treat you differently, right? Like he's like, you would pay for everything. I wouldn't pay for anything. You would pay for anything. And dorm rooms, no, we don't got a condo somewhere.
Exactly.
But yeah, all 4 years, they're like, I think 2 years they're roommates at like
Mhm.
some random dorm or apartment, whatever,
Yeah.
live a normal life.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that people should use university if you can go, right? If that's where you want to go. It's a good opportunity to explore a lot of different
Yeah.
things. You meet different people, try, see talk to different professors, lecturers, and to see what people's lives could be. You can a lot of times they have internships, so you can actually go to those companies to
Yeah.
try it out to figure out what it's like.
Yeah.
So just use that. That's a really great opportunity.
And I would say one thing being an adult, if you're in college right now, stay as long as you can. Don't graduate in 4 years. Graduate in like 12 years.
Oh my
Live in that
gosh.
bubble. I'm
Just
just
get like
kidding.
5 degrees.
I'm just kidding a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, get 5 degrees and just have fun.
Yes. Yes. Never grow up. Stay in
Yeah.
college, right?
It is a really I don't even think about it, it's really fun time.
Like
You know?
people they lie to you. High school is your best years. No bullshit. College is
No, college.
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 College is your best time in life, right?
It's definitely like if you get to go to college, it's so much fun.
You meet so many great people, right?
Just learn so many different things and just think differently.
Here's a funny story for you, right? So I was in college, right? So I got my bachelor's from a school called University of Texas Permian Base, right? It's a
Mhm.
UT System School in Odessa, Texas. My good friend Shannon Go was right. We took it was either a Russian history class or Mexico class. I don't remember what it was, right? We had a final exam. We both had A's, right?
Mhm.
And the test was a final exam 1 a.m., right? You're like, hey, let's meet up. Mississippi 11 is this Mexican restaurant across the college, right? And go there. No, go there. Next thing you know, it's 2:30 if we drink like a gallon margarita. So we stumble to class at like 1 to 3. We get to 2:30, and somehow we both make A.
Wow.
No idea.
That's very
I have no
impressive.
idea what the question was. I saw the question, just wrote a bunch of shit. My thing was like question, space, put up all the space. Question, put all the space, right? And we both got A's. I had no clue,
Wow.
right? But to me, I mean, this might be an example to me as college, right?
Mhm.
Like, have a good time, hang with good friends.
Learn new things
Yeah,
and then see what kind of potential you have.
yeah.
Never know.
Now I know I can take a test in mixing history or worse actually fucking drunk as shit on margaritas, make an A.
I mean, if it's vodka, maybe.
Yeah. And of course we both had A's before then, so
Yeah, so you know the
it
material.
ain't like we had like F minuses and stuff, and like you gotta make
Yeah.
A, yeah, we knew the material and stuff.
But wow,
And
that is,
the thing is like, we got there 11 o'clock. Let's go to this restaurant, get some chips, right? Compare enough, whatever. We can have one margarita. Got 2 margaritas. Oh shit, it's 2:30.
I hope you're over 21.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But even I wasn't, it's Texas.
It's A.
Yes.
You got an A, who cares?
It's an A, yeah. Yeah. And that's the stories and experience you have in college, right? It's the best experience.
I know. It's, I mean, for me, I stayed in school this whole time.
And you're still in school
So,
technically. You're still
yeah,
in school
I'm still
technically,
in
right?
school,
You're
so
still in
it must be I
you,
love it that
you're
much,
still
right?
academic bubble.
Yeah, I'm still and I'm gonna be in school forever. Man, I think it's great. When else are you gonna have all those peers coming in to learn?
Is there like I'll put this, is there like stepping stone? Like, you teach at the University of Kentucky. Okay, next I gotta teach at you know, a better school. Does that play a role in anything? Like I need to compete to teach at an Ivy League school.
Mhm.
Or maybe I need to, go teach at a European school.
I see what
Or
you
maybe
yeah.
like, you know what, man, I need to take a break. Let me go teach at a junior college for a little bit, right? Take a break.
I don't think you can really take a break
Mhm,
because also junior college, I'm not sure if they have funding for research.
mhm,
So for schools, that's why it's really difficult for me back then even to think about it as a job
mhm.
because apparently working somewhere and studying somewhere is totally different.
Yeah.
working somewhere, you got to look at the salary. How's your package? How they treat you? What kind of location you have? Where university? I can go in the middle of the desert as far as it's like high ranking school. But like when it comes to a job, you have to think a lot more, different stuff. Like, do they happen to have opening that year when you apply? Because professors don't leave that often.
You know,
Do they
like
have
there's
funding,
like
right?
Professor 127,000 years old, right?
Exactly. Professors will work until they die. That's my plan. I am gonna die in my office. No one can stop me from doing this. So it's so random. It's not like college application.
Okay. Is there such thing? I'm making this up again as doing like a visiting professor where you can go teach like the University of Munich
Oh,
for a
yeah, you
year?
can. I think that
Okay.
would be really fun, and I look forward to that. And also, people can do, I think, after PhD postdocs at certain schools, you can be a guest lecturer to teach maybe one thing or get invited for talks. So you have to actually have a lot of traveling.
Okay. So here's one for you. So how long have you been in the Seattle area?
9 years.
9 years. So Seattle area, I mean, of course, this talk generality, stereotypes and stuff, but Seattle has a pretty, a lot of Asian population, right? I mean, more than most cities. You go in Kentucky, have to imagine like it's gonna go over like amount of Asians in Kentucky is pretty low, right? Have you thought about how you're gonna deal with that culture shock, like like seeing a bunch of white people everywhere versus like
Here, whereas you see a lot of
because I'm
everybody's like Indian, Chinese,
because I'm
Korean,
thinking there's not
white.
very many pho restaurants or
Mm.
Vietnamese restaurants in Kentucky. I mean, I could be wrong, of course. I've never been there, but
I mean, I haven't really even started enjoying Vietnamese food since I went to California.
okay,
So, and yeah, so in Seattle, but again, you have to think about it. In Seattle, you have to deal with a lot of people who are not from this country, right? They don't celebrate your birthday.
yeah,
Well, not birthday. They don't celebrate your holidays.
yeah.
Actually, they don't even sing the same birthday songs. Because I went to some Iranian birthday parties, like, you don't sing happy birthday? What is happening? Right? And you have, I mean, it's nice to have all this diversity in the
Yeah,
culture, but also it's like you're American, it's also kind of nice to just like people know what you're saying, your
yeah,
jokes,
yeah,
all this kind of stuff. And sure, they definitely have fewer uh, mixed people or people from different countries. But I'm from Missouri. It's not that big of a
yeah.
change for
Yeah, I
me.
forgot about that. Fuck you grew up in Missouri, right?
I mean, and also, there are a real city, so it's not like just a tiny college
Yeah.
town. And usually in
It's Lexington, right?
Lexington. So yeah, in universities, you usually have a lot more exposure
Yeah,
to people from different countries or different cultures
yeah.
backgrounds. So
Okay. So I guess you have become a diehard Kentucky basketball fan now.
I have no idea yet. So we don't know. I mean, here at UW, I mean, I really go to their games when my advisor gives me a free ticket
Yeah.
because I
That's when
don't.
that's when like people don't realize how hard it is to get a ticket to college athletics, right? It's very hard.
I mean, it's just like I don't know. I guess for big change, a lot of people when I talk to them, it's like, "Oh, you're moving to Kentucky." They're all freaking out. How can you stand in the middle of America? I was like, I mean,
So here's one for you. Remember, like back in the day, like back like 4 years ago when Trump got elected president, and they did a skit on Saturday Night Live for the election night. It was like Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock, and like they were doing like the election night. It's like all these liberal Democrats. Hillary Clinton's gonna win no matter what. Right? She's gonna win. And the first Rocks all came in. Um, Kentucky goes to Trump, the Democrat. Of course, other races live in Kentucky. Like they were surprised, like all of them, like all of them live in Kentucky. Every race in the world lives in Kentucky. Okay, right?
I mean, I'm not too sure what's the local demographics like, but I don't think it's that bad.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah,
Because
there's
they're
bad people, good people everywhere. I mean,
yeah, and I mean I'm not too familiar with the place, but from my visit,
mm.
people are actually really
Oh
nice.
yeah, they're nice. Yeah, you're gonna have a
And
great time there.
yeah, and so I don't know. It's always a risk. You never know where you move to. But here, you also could have people who really hate Christmas or
Yeah,
don't like you or or really believe in the very strongly believe in their ways of their
yeah.
religion versus you. Oh, you're showing your hair, you're sad. So it's like
So, do you have like a career plan? Like you like, are you so detailed? Like you're like, I'm gonna teach Kentucky for 3 years and then go somewhere else and like do this research project or like do this. and do this, or like you're just gonna like, or like I don't want to say wing it. 'Cause of course, you're not gonna
Mhm.
wing it, because that's your style, but like,
So I think it depends. A lot of people have plans. I'm gonna leave this place, but I don't know. I think it really depends. If I really like the place, I don't see why not. It's a great research institute, and there's no reason. If it's a really fun place to live, I don't see why you have to move. And then again, if it's really terrible or people don't like me or whatever, I'm not stuck there. So there's a good amount of freedom. Just really depends. You never know. I mean, for any job
no,
or
you don't,
moving to any place.
you don't. So let's suppose like someone's teaching at a university of, say, Tennessee, right?
Hmm.
Since they're Kentucky's rival, and suppose they're teaching there, like, man, like, I don't like this place,
Hmm.
and they resign, thinking they can get a job. They don't get a job, and they're unemployed like 1 2 years. Is it really hard for them to find another job?
Well, I don't think academia jobs are as fluid as other jobs. Uh, but we do see people. If you really don't like the place, you can always try to apply for jobs elsewhere. But it doesn't move as fast as the industry.
Okay,
Industry is like, I hired this person today and fire them tomorrow. Not that fast.
okay. Do you want to get some kind of, is there like a Nobel Prize for like marketing research, something like that?
Wouldn't that be nice? Actually, I was interviewed, and then one of the interview questions is like, who would you want to nominate for if we have this kind of award for marketing? So no,
No.
we don't have that.
Is there any kind of equivalent of anything like that, or like,
Not that I know of.
no?
Yeah, because again, it's really difficult to judge research. Because
Yeah.
the whole point is that you don't know what you'll find. If I knew this is going to be a great discovery, then everybody would
Mhm.
go after it. But you don't. So everybody's taking a lot of risks.
So earlier I asked you who your mentors are. Is there any like marketing people that you follow? Like any like big time marketing people?
So when you're so focused on PhD level, people I follow are usually very close to what I do.
Okay.
And a lot of times those people become co authors.
Okay.
So it's a pretty small area. But it's not like, oh, everybody should follow this person or that
Mm.
person, because when you're at PhD level, a lot of times you're very narrowed down to a certain area. But yeah.
So getting your PhD, how small is your circle, right? Is it like you just like talk like maybe 20 people on a daily basis, on a weekly basis? Like how small is your circle?
I think it depends on, as a PhD student for 3 years, I mean, because of the pandemic. The only person I talked to was my advisor.
Okay.
But of course, that's an extreme
Yeah.
situation. I think 50 to 100.
50. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause
pretty big when you think about it.
yeah, but that's also across the whole world. I mean, across US
Yeah.
and some of the world. So I wouldn't say it's I mean, maybe 300 total, like when
Okay.
you expand to other areas,
Yeah.
not just like my game theory or something
Mm.
like that. So, but in terms of game theory, I'll tell you how small the population is. I was the only game theory graduate on the job market. One.
Yeah.
That is how small. I mean, schools don't produce that many PhDs. If you think about it, it takes them 6 years to get one, and then a lot of people even leave. And like my advisor, I was his only student all these
Mhm.
years. So it's like it's a lot of effort to produce
Yeah.
a PhD person. So
So when someone says to you, Evie, man, you're so smart, do you think, yes, I am? Or do you think, no, I'm not?
well, I think that at least I'm not that stupid that I cannot, do tests or finish my work. But I know so there is a certain level of that confidence. It's like, okay, I'm not the dumbest person in the room because I had to do all this and then this, right? I have to get all this certain grades or get certain things. But I'm not gonna be like, I'm the smartest person, because whole academia is like to make you humble. Like, you need to be better, improve here and there. So everything you receive a lot of times, like for a long time, is all negative feedback. So you're very humble.
You're like this. I had a guy on the podcast a while ago, and he said it was so funny. He's like, I never want to be the smartest person in the room, but I never want to be the dumbest person in the room either.
I mean, that's all you really need to do, right? It's just as far as you're not the dumbest person in the room, that's all that matters.
Oh man, oh, I think what's even worse if you're the dumbest person in the room and you think you're the smartest, right?
That would be the worst.
I think this world in society now, too many smart people think they're dumb, and too many dumb people know they're smart. Like too many dumb people just know they know everything, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like I was thinking
And
back in the day, like COVID was gone. I didn't remember research. So you looked at a Facebook post from your friend.
mhm.
That's your research, you know? Really?
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, I know this is totally true. Like, why? Two people at my work said that. What's your sample size? Two people.
Yeah. Or like, well, this article said blah blah blah, and there's a link to some other article. Did you click the link? Like who did it? Like, like
Well, I have to tell you that after PhD, I definitely become a lot more critical for people's claims.
yeah.
Like a lot of times, like me and my friends would be like, "Look at this! Oh, this print says this. Oh, he didn't even cite anything. This is garbage." So, oh, I'm very critical on people's claims and things like that. Now it's like, and I do click. I click that, and I clicked all the way down, to the source and see the data. It's like, and then judge. Yeah, is the data large enough? Is it done correctly? So
Or real for you, someone claims something,
mhm.
and the source is themselves in another article. So they source themselves.
That's or cite them.
They stop themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if you think is like, for you're not very strict on how smart you are, but very strict on how intense, like how your research is done correctly. So you have this very spread. Like, I don't think I'm smart, but I'm very arrogant on how things should be
I
done
would
right.
deep dive to the deepest deep dive.
Exactly.
I will go down every rabbit hole in the world.
Yes, it's like I will find all your sources to verify them to see if that's BS. Like, oh, they cited this article. I'm gonna read this article to see if they really said that sentence you said they. So
And no, I'm like, and one thing is like, who has time to do that, right? Like, who has time to do that?
people watch TikToks and YouTubes all the
That's
time.
fun though.
This is fun for me to see if they're right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right though. But like, there's so much stuff out there. Like, and another thing, bad thing too, like, is like back in the day. I make this up. Like, there was that dude's name, Walter Cronkite. Like, if he said something, it was like you knew it was true, right? Nowadays, CNN, what?
Yeah.
Like some people call it a clown news network, or Fox, or what do you call it? It's like, man, like it's like, and other things like CNN brought to you by Pfizer, or CNN brought to you by this and like that. How is it not biased, right?
Yeah.
So this one news thing I call it's called Axios.com. You heard of them? They're pretty good.
Mhm.
They're pretty good. Um, Al Jazeera News is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I'll check those
They're
out.
pretty good. Fair. They're pretty fair, even though they're ran by Qatar.
Mhm.
But yeah, American news, like man, like
It's entertainment now.
it's hard entertainment, right?
Yeah, it's no longer news, it's entertainment. I cannot tell the difference between those and BuzzFeed.
No, you're right. I mean, back in the day, it was pretty bad. Most America got the news from Jon Stewart Comedy Center, right?
And back then, I think there's like integrity of reporters, or you have all the stories, and then now just like people dress up in funny things and tell you and say some very passionate things like, "Whoa, did you really say that on the news? Like that's not news. That's your opinion. This should not be, masked. This is news." It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's so many like agendas and stuff.
I know. And I mean, that makes sense, right? Because you have to think about networks have to make money. When they have to make money, they have to,
Yeah.
unfortunately, be bad.
Then again, we don't want to like. Then again, we don't want like a Russian state sponsored media either,
I
right?
know. It's like,
It's like
there's
we
no
don't want that.
freedom.
Yeah, we don't want that either. That will
Yeah.
be true propaganda.
I know. It's hard to find this balance. I don't think we have it yet.
Yeah, we're definitely something we're in the United States for doing not too good of a job at recently. And another thing too, like back in the day was like ABC, NBC, CBS, only three news
Mhm.
things. And now they're like hundreds of millions of news sources, right? And you think it'd be a better thing, but actually it's kind of not because anyone can be a news reporter. Anyone is a news reporter, right?
Yeah.
All
It's
the independent
getting
news reporters.
so polluted by everything. I mean, same as entertainment. If you're even just looking at shows, like a million TV shows out there is terribly made.
It's too much.
It's just too much.
It's too
Like,
much. And then, like, suppose there's a good show, like, man, Game of Thrones, you have to get HBO. Or, like, there's a show I watch now on Showtime called The Chi is really good. I forget streaming for Chi, right? Back then, everything was on 3 channels, right? Now you gotta have a Apple Music, YouTube, this, and this, Hulu,
oh, don't even get me started on those evil subscriptions.
and all those shit. It's only $10.
You can't. The thing is, even if you buy it, you don't own it.
No, you don't.
Like, I think is one of the most evil thing that the companies have created is subscription. I'm speaking as a consumer.
Uh-huh.
Like, I can't even own this thing anymore, right? They don't even produce DVDs I can buy and
No.
have it in my hand. Like, I don't. I have to.
Yeah, you're right.
What if you go away? Then my,
Everything's gone.
$100 is
Yeah,
gone, and I have
exactly.
to constantly subscribe to you to be able to access my things.
Yeah.
And then Amazon Prime just recently, unless you pay $2.99, you get ads. They do.
What?
Yeah,
I missed that.
yeah. They just everything has ads now. Oh, I probably will have to cancel just
So
in spite.
so you're paying $3.99 a month for Prime
So
plus ads.
you're already paying the Prime, but now unless you pay $2.99 more a month, you get ads on everything.
Yeah. I think I really don't watch Prime videos that much, right?
I know. It's like, do I really even need the
Yeah.
Prime shipping? It's like maybe just get rid of it. It
I know I need
just
Prime.
angers me too much.
I need Prime shipping. Maybe
What?
maybe Amazon maybe
You buy?
maybe Amazon Prime Video, no.
Okay. I don't know.
It's a convenience.
I do think that like marketing can go really wrong by abusing consumers a little bit because they have to constantly make you not too happy,
Mhm.
but feel like you can be happier. So you keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. It's no longer I make a good product and you buy it and you're a consumer. They want a subscription. What is that? You don't own anything. DVDs should come back.
Here's a marketing challenge for you. So have you heard what Wendy's is doing? So Wendy's, a fast food restaurant,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
introducing
They're
surge pricing. Or like the longer the line is, the more you gotta pay. So like, so you're telling me the more I wait, the more I gotta pay? Are you fucking kidding me right now?
honestly, that's just like, I mean, we already see dynamic pricing everywhere else, right? Like, or Uber and all this kind of like different things. Actually, most things you buy, purchase on your smart devices, a lot of times they are targeted at you. Personalized pricing, all this kind of stuff. But food? Come on. So you're telling me this $5.99 burger is now $30?
And if I came 2 hours later, I would have paid $5.99, waited 2 minutes. Now I gotta pay $30 or wait 30 minutes?
Yeah, so it's just worse in every way.
Like, like what?
I
And even they came in the sense that said, "My bad, our mistake." I think they're screwed, right? Because people, consumer, like, you try to screw us over.
obviously, I mean, that's what businesses do, especially those large businesses and monopolies out there.
Like, how does that make sense in any world?
Well, I'm glad that they're removing them. I'm glad people responded as,
Oh, they
"Nope."
responded.
Yes,
They responded.
yes.
Like the internet spoke. The internet spoke. And like so many memes across all social media, like TikTok, Instagram, like doing like little memes and stuff, stories and stuff. Like one thing with tech was like um Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, all these different
Mhm.
things talking and stuff. So you're gonna pay more to wait in line. Like like
Oh, it's terrible. That's what I'm saying, that's why those companies want to become monopolies and keep buying each other, right?
Mhm.
So they can, in the end, control everything, and then consumers just being pushed to the edge of, like, taking everything.
Maybe they thought it works for Uber, it'll work for us. I mean, two different business models, right?
It's the same burger, but it's a different route, sure, but it's the same burger,
And you wait longer.
and you wait long,
And you wait longer.
and you wait long, and it's at the time you need it the most.
And odds are the customer service is probably still horrible,
Yeah,
both experiences.
man, I really hope that AIs can make better decisions for humans than those short-sighted CEOs.
And my thing is like, suppose the CEO made a decision, right?
Mhm.
I think you're failing if everyone on your team, great idea, boss. or like you're the head of marketing, great idea of marketing. Like no one said like, uh, can we rethink this? I know I'm just a lowly junior marketing intern or
Yeah.
whatever, I'm not too smart about corporation stuff.
Mhm.
I don't have a degree yet, but I don't know. I eat Wendy's every day, and last thing I want to do is wait 30 minutes and pay triple the price for Wendy's burger.
Well, the trick of all these companies is that I don't know if they did it for PR value or just to get back on people's memes. Maybe they start realizing, oh, we're falling behind. Nobody
Uh,
talks about us anymore because McDonald's has been winning, right? They have
mhm.
all this like new things, new
Yeah.
Happy Meals. It's like, oh, we're falling behind. Let's become popular again, even if it's negative.
Mhm. Here's one for you. Remember a few years ago when IHOP said we no longer do breakfast for our hamburger place now, and it was a trick.
Yeah. Same as McDonald's McRibs, right? Like, oh, it's coming back. No, now it's not. Now it's back again.
That is one thing I hate. Fucking McRib. Every time that comes back, I just want fly to McDonald's Corporation. Whose decision is this? And like I don't know, electrocute them or something, right? I don't know anyone who likes the McRib, right?
I don't know if they're ribs. I'm
Oh, they're
not
not.
sure if they classify as
They're
ribs.
not. Yeah, they're not. They're like Mc. I don't know.
I don't know what they are. But yeah, but a lot of companies do this kind of stuff,
Mm.
right? For whatever value.
What's it? Bad publicity is good publicity or whatever.
Exactly, right? There's like no publicity is bad publicity or something like that. It could be that. I was like, we're using AI. And now we're going back. Because everybody's like, oh, Wendy's, I haven't been there for a while. Let me go. And then they succeed.
Oh, let me go to Wendy's for a search
Yeah.
pricing. Yeah,
Oh, my Wendy's is not surge pricing yet. Let me go hurry up. And then like, okay,
yeah. Or like,
mission
there's
accomplished.
no way there's a crowd at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Maybe they're smarter than we give them credit for.
You never know what's behind those marketing people.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So, what is like a typical marketer, right? Is like someone who's extroverted, someone who's like can talk a lot, someone who like I don't use the term con people, like kind of con people,
Used car salespeople.
like influence people,
So
of course they're data driven,
yeah,
research driven.
in contrary to a lot of people believe that marketing people, they believe they're all this advertisement people out there or salespeople. Most marketing people are data driven, analytical, and but is passionate about the product. So
Is it more important to be a great marketing person or more important to be a great business person?
I think they serve different functions, right? Marketing serves more focus on marketing, consumers, and how to sell the products. Where business, you also have to look at the back end of the business. Right? How do you run it? How do you file tax? How do you get finance and funding? How to run this business? How to evaluate the growth? And all this kind of complex overall looking thing. So business is really a lot of things.
So let's suppose you're gonna do a professional thing, right? Suppose you decide to go to work for a corporation, right?
Hmm.
And you're the chief marketing officer of some kind of corporation, right? But what would you look for in your marketing hires?
I think it's quite similar to what we want in a good marketer, right? Person is uh, data driven, analytical, and not very easily convinced by certain ideas. Oh, this is a great product. You don't know if that's a great product. You need to find ways to prove it. So it's almost like a researcher.
Okay. Are you ever talking to anybody or are you gonna do your PhD dissertation on?
Uh, I mentioned a little bit. It's on the AI fairness,
Okay.
on the content recommendation. So um, that's the one that we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
That's the one.
Okay. But can you talk about any of the like details, like how hard it was to do it, or like what's your like what you're trying to prove or disprove?
Ah, so yeah, I can talk a little bit about how he came to me. How about that? So again, it came from the Product and Management Center, and when we were having the Inclusive Product Management Summit, I spoke with multiple companies. Apparently, they're deciding if they should make their AI fair because it's a very complex decision.
I don't mean to laugh, but man, to me, that's being a no-brainer. Of course you wanna make AI to be fair, right?
See, that's the thing. Some people would be like, "Of course you wanna make it fair." But then it's a lot more complex than that.
How?
Because if you make it so-called fair, how would your different consumer groups react to that decision? Maybe some people would decide, for example, in my paper, like they're not gonna tell you who they are now. So they hide their identity. There are put a fact how much you want to invest into AI's learning on those consumers. Now they're hiding. So it's more dynamic than just simply, I want to make it fair. Because a
So it's
lot
not
of
that
time,
simple.
yeah, it's not that simple. And also it's, if you think about it, a lot of those content companies, their AI is the core of their business. So if you make any adjustment to their AI algorithms, it's a really huge impact, right? If you think about YouTube has billions of people who watch that. And you make some adjustment. I'm going to try to change this, move that. You could have, unexpected impacts. So, and I talked to LinkedIn, I talked to Meta, Facebook, and a few other companies, and they're like, it's actually, they really want to make it fair, but they're kind of afraid because they don't know what's going on, what could happen. So my motto is to show them what could happen. If you go ahead, do implement some sort of AI algorithm policy, how would different consumers react, and how would that eventually impact your decisions and your payoff?
So you're doing research after imagine you went to like a company, you said, "Hey, I'm Evie Smith, I'm doing PhD research." Doors open for you, right?
So for me,
Versus
I don't go to talk to the company. I did not go to talk to them, but it's more like an event, and then we started a conversation on
okay.
this, and then and then information came, and we talk about it. But I think if I needed, so we have empirical people who need data, so they actually do have to go to talk to different companies. It's like, okay, I'm studying this. I think you may have data, or can I run this, quasi experiment on your platform? Would you allow me to do that? So there are different ways.
But if you were like, Evie Smith, random person, you know,
Can you give me some data, or can we talk about your business? You're like, get out of here.
yeah,
Yeah, people are usually a little bit nicer when they know you're a
yeah.
student and doing research.
So have you thought about this? I'm a big thing about this. Like, we don't know, right? Like, back in the day,
Hmm.
everyone thought the Earth was flat. The smartest people in the world thought it was flat.
Turtles all the way
They were
down.
proven wrong. What do you think we like? What do you think that we know without a doubt is true today that probably isn't true?
Well, first thing is how smart AI is. A lot of people think it's great. A lot of people think it passed the Turing test. Now AI can talk to us. It can create things. I think that people will soon realize that not quite there yet.
Nice. So, Evie, is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't, or anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we talked about a lot of things
Yeah,
and I had a lot of fun.
nice. So, Evie, can you share your social media so people can reach out to you, including potential students in the future,
Yes, of
so they
course.
can kiss up to you?
Oh no. But if they can learn something or, get a kick out
Yeah,
of this conversation, that'd be great.
that's a better thing. Yeah, reach out to you so they can learn something from you. The better one.
Thank you so much, Jason.
Yes. So, Evie, thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really fun talking to you.
Thanks. And to our listeners, thank you for your time as well. Remember to be great every day.